stop.
A very good afternoon to respected Principal Ma'am, honorable guests, distinguished delegates, faculty members and students. It is indeed a great honor and pleasure to welcome you all on the occasion of the one-day state-level seminar on chemistry behind phytochemicals used as herbal medicine for treatment of diseases of human beings, Series 4. Sponsored by Inclusion and Diversity Fund, Royal Society of Chemistry, London, in collaboration with Indian Chemical Society, Kolkata. The seminar is organized by Department of Botany and Department of Chemistry, Sarojini Naidu College for Women, Kolkata, and Department of Chemistry of Bhawanipur Education Society College, Kolkata. Now, I call upon to the stage our respected Principal Ma'am, respected Dr. Shamir Kanti Datta Sir, Dean of Science, Bhawanipur Education Society College, Professor Dulal Chand Mukherjee, Advisor, Indian Chemical Society, Professor Olokesh Vishoi, Department of Chemical Science, Indian Institute of Science Education and Research, Kolkata. I welcome you all, sir, for this one-day state level seminar. Thank you. Now, and Professor Anup Kumar Shikdar, Research Advisor, Bhawanipur Education Society College. I welcome you all, sir. Now I would request Principal Ma'am to give her welcome address. Thank you.
of Sarojini Naidu College Phytochemicals, Department of Chemistry of Bhawanipur Educational Society College have organized a one-day state-level seminar on chemistry behind phytochemicals used as herbal medicine for treatment of diseases of human beings. Series 4. This seminar has been sponsored by Royal Society of Chemistry, London, in collaboration with Indian Chemical Society, Kolkata. On behalf of Sarojini Naidu College for Women, I extend a warm welcome to all of you to this seminar. I express my deep gratitude to our respected teacher, Professor Gulab Chandra Mukhopadhyay, Advisor, Indian Chemical Society, Dr. Shamir Kanti Datta, Dean of Science, Bhawanipur Educational Society College, Professor Anup Kumar Shikdar, Research Advisor, Bhawanipur Educational Society College. I express my heartiest thanks to all the distinguished speakers of today's seminar, Professor Alokesh Bishoy, ISAR Kolkata, and Dr. Abhijit De of Presidency University. I am sure that we will be greatly benefited by their lectures. Today, I want to share an event of my life. 40 years back, in 1982, when I was a student of Masters of Chemistry of the University of Calcutta, Professor B.C. Mukherjee took me to Jadavpur University Physical Chemistry Department and introduced me with his friend Professor Kiran Kumar Kundu, Professor of Chemistry, Jadavpur University. That day was a related day to me. I did my PhD degree under Professor Kundu's guidance, and from that day till today, I have received much help and valuable guidance from Professor D.C. Mukherjee. What I am today, that is because of his contribution in my life. I am privileged and honored to be his student. I express my heartfelt gratitude to you, sir. Now, a few words about today's seminar. Medicinal plants have a long history of use all around the world. From ancient times, plants have been rich sources of effective and safe medicines. Herbal medicine is considered as a suitable alternative to chemical medicines due to their low cost, easy availability, and lesser side effects. The main phytochemical components present in medicinal plants are tannins, alkaloids, saponins, glycosides, steroids, terpenoids, flavonoids, anthraquinones, and reducing sugars. Medicinal plants still play important roles in the daily lives of people living in developing countries of Asia and Africa. They not only serve as substitutes for modern medicinal treatments, but also enhance the health and security of local people. Thus, these plants play indispensable roles in daily life, and we are deeply connected to diverse social, cultural, and economic events associated with life, aging, illness, and death. Medicinal plants are used to treat and diagnose diseases and infections like cardiovascular disease, liver problems, cancer, osteoporosis, reproductive disorders, etc. Currently, there is considerable interest in the potential health effects of dietary phytochemicals. Therefore, there is an urgent need to search for these various phytochemicals in plants so that we can utilize the potentials in these free gifts from God and not left with the curative power endowed on them purposely for man's health benefit. I wish today's seminar a grand success and thank you all the participants to be here with us today. Thank you all. Thank you once again.
Now we will felicitate Dr. Dulalchand Mukherjee sir. We will felicitate Dr. Shumit Dutt. We will felicitate Dr. Anup Shikdar sir. We will felicitate Dr. Arukesh Vishal sir. We will felicitate our principal ma'am. Now, I would request Professor Dulalchand Mukherjee sir, Advisor, Indian Chemical Society, to give his inaugural address.
Good afternoon, everyone. For me, it is very difficult to add a ceremony. But whomever I see in my front, many of them are fifth generation students of mine. In the dais, two of them are my direct students, Dr. Bhumi Tatto and Urmila. Another one, although not a student direct, but student like. And another one might be third generation. So it is very difficult for me to address all them. I offer the best of my wishes for all of you. Wishes for the new year. I offer that all of you can a great height in your respective field of specialization. As Swami told me that it is an endeavor to popularize chemistry. And that was the theme of the Royal Society of Chemistry Institute. Popularize chemistry?
Popularize, yes.
This was popularize chemistry.
Evolution and guidance.
Right.
Popularize
Okay.
the concept is
Chemistry is a very versatile subject. When I was an ISC student, ISC nowadays, you may not be knowing, ISC was the course which was offered immediately after the school final examination in our time. Previous to the matriculation and again previous to that the entrance examination. So immediately after the entrance examination, an ISC course was introduced, and we did not have any idea of chemistry before the ISC course. So our teacher, I was a student of a Maharashtra college, the Kishuna College, Bohol. So our teacher introduced in a very elegant way, which is unusual way. He said, whatever we see in this material world is chemistry. What we do not see is chemistry. What we feel is chemistry. What we fail to feel is also chemistry. A very versatile concept, although it is not a textbook definition, but it conveys to us a sense of versatility of the subject. And at that day, he told us that you are a student of this versatile subject, and remember that expectation from the student of chemistry by the entire world is maximum. They expect everything from a chemist. What we can imagine, everything of our imagination is within the expectation of the subject of chemistry. Because if you start our life in the morning, the things which are used is toothpaste. And till we go to bed, again a toothpaste. So from toothpaste to toothpaste, everything is chemistry. We take our food, that is chemistry. We take our medicine, that is chemistry. So what you need to see in a very short speech that I have later now, whatever we think and whatever we cannot think, everything is chemistry. So you are the practitioner of the subject of chemistry and botany, of course, because botany is also involved here. Phytochemical is much of it is botany. And we should divert our discussion towards the use of these basic subjects for developing new medicine. And I am sure that today I have heard about allocation and I have heard about Ovidit. Both of them are doing, particularly I have heard that allocation is doing very, very good work in Isaac on regulations. And he will be delivering his lecture. I am sure that you will be benefited. And I am also sure that your involvement, your sincere involvement will be highly beneficial to the society, humanity. Because, as I told you before, that everybody expects that chemistry and botany must be used to combat human miseries. And another thing, that chemistry should be very judiciously utilized, because there is some evil side of chemistry also. For the environmental pollution, chemicals responsible. So whatever we do, we must use. Nowadays, green chemistry is coming in a big way. So before I conclude, I must tell you one thing, that you must be sincere, very serious to use chemistry in the right way. I pray for you that by your dedication, by your sincerity, you rise to a great height to serve the the millions of suffering humanity. With these words, I conclude. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with the knowledge of phytochemistry. Thank you, sir. Now I'll call sir, I'll invite sir, Dr. Samikanti Datta sir for keynote address.
Hello, am I audible? Very good afternoon to all of you, particularly to us, our respected sir, Professor P.C. Mukherjee. Hello. Hello. Very good afternoon to all of you, especially our in the dais, our respected sir, Professor P.C. Mukherjee, respected principal madam, Professor Urmila Ukil, respected Dr. Anup Shikdar, and respected speaker, Professor Alokesh Bishai. And all the faculty members, respected all the faculty members of this college, and my beloved students, particularly from chemistry, from botany, and other subjects. I hope so. Now, it is our great pleasure to come here for conducting a seminar on chemistry, on phytochemistry and herbal drugs on behalf of our Royal Society of Chemistry, London. My heartfelt thank to Professor Urmila Ukil, Principal of this college, Principal Urmila Ukil, for allowing me to conduct the seminar over here. I also thank Dr. Sudeshna Chatterjee, I think, am I wrong or correct? Dr. Sudeshna Chatterjee, because her constant support and sincere cooperation allowed me to conduct the seminar over here. Now, it is a Royal Society Chemistry sponsored seminar. So I want to mention a brief outlines about Royal Society of Chemistry, because I received a full grant from the Royal Society of Chemistry London, directly from UK. Now, Royal Society of Chemistry, about Royal Society of Chemistry, with about 175 years of journey, more than 175 years of journey, it is the oldest and premier chemical society of the world. So far I remember, in 1841, the 77 scientists formed this London Chemical Society with dialyzer inventor Professor Thomas Grams as the first president of London Chemical Society. Now, after 7 years, it was granted as changed London Chemical Society to Royal Society of Chemistry, London. Now, what is chemistry? Chemistry is in the center of everything. You can see, you can touch, you can smell, you can feel. Am I correct, my dear students? You can see, you can touch, you can smell, you can feel, etc. Now, chemical scientists can improve, very important role of the chemical scientists. Chemical scientists can improve our health, can improve our lifestyle, can improve our environment, and also our daily lives. So, and not only Royal Society of Chemistry, I am very much indebted to Indian Chemical Society. Our SAD is there, past president, now advisor. Sir was already of Indian Chemical Society. They have come when I asked Sir and secretary that I am going to apply for a proposal, for a fellowship, for a project proposal to Royal Society. I asked Sir, please collaborate. Because Somir will collaborate because you are applying to a noble organization for some project. So immediately they wrote a big letter and I sent the letter to Royal Society. I think it is one of the criteria, main criteria for getting this project. Because it is in collaboration. Because without collaboration, science cannot develop. Collaboration is essential to connect scientists as well as the society as a whole. With this collaboration, we connect the scientists, we connect biologists, we connect chemists, we connect botanical scientists. So this will help them to discover something, and so that innovation can happen. Innovation may occur. Sir, am I correct? Innovation may happen. Without collaboration, it is not possible. As much as collaboration is there, new thoughts will generate, and it will help scientists to discover some unknown things. And innovative work is possible due to collaboration. So Indian Chemical Society, like Royal Society of Chemistry, Indian Chemical Society is the oldest and premier chemical society of India. It was founded by Sir P.C. Rai, I think known to all chemistry people. So this is in short about Royal Society of Chemistry. Now my project is, you see, inclusion and diversity. Now this term is something new. What is inclusion and diversity in chemistry? What is inclusion and diversity in chemistry? But by inclusion and diversity, we mean our approach to increase to increase diversity of people choosing chemistry. Our approach to increase diversity of people, those who are choosing chemistry. We have to increase the diversity. And how? How we can increase the diversity? Actually, diversity means here irrespective of people irrespective of gender, culture, socio-economic status, varying financial resources, caste, race, and religion, to all people. We cannot discriminate any people. We cannot discriminate any students. This is called diversity. We cannot discriminate any students. Students irrespective of culture, gender, race, religion, socio-economic status, having different financial resources. So we have to accommodate all types of students. That is called diversity. So we will diversify these chemistry seminars to all. So our aim is to conduct these seminars in some Calcutta suburb colleges as well as many in rural colleges. Now why diversify? Why Royal Society want to diversify chemistry? Because the main reason is that people that make our global community come from diverse cultures. People that make global community come from diverse cultures and having varied backgrounds. So diversification is necessary. better situation because people are global, based on different cultures, based on varying backgrounds. So chemistry should be for everyone through inclusion. This is called inclusion. We are accommodating all students, that is by a principle of inclusion. So chemistry should be everyone through inclusion. So we are working, we are holding seminars to come to the in reality. That principle is reality, that the principle of Royal Society. Now, why I have chosen this college? There are many colleges in Kolkata, and many Kolkata suburb colleges are also there. First thing, the principal of this college belonged to chemistry. That was my fascination. The principal of this college belonged to chemistry. And another thing is that and secondly, it is a girls' college. Secondly, it is first is principal is chemistry. Principal belongs to chemistry. And secondly, it is a girls' college. Because you know, still in Indian scenario, not only in India, in some advanced countries, girl students are underrepresented. Girl students are underrepresented from higher studies, particularly in rural areas. Girl students are looked as underrepresented. Girl students, mostly in rural areas, they are not allowed for higher studies. Still in India, particularly not in urban areas, in some rural areas, not in India, in some advanced countries also. So that's why I have chosen this college. It is a girls' college, and from different class, different culture, I think, because our girls are here. So other thing, because this seminar based on phytochemicals and herbal medicine, mostly rural people, instead of allopathic medicines, they based on herbal medicines. Because of cost effectiveness also there. Cost is a factor. Allopathic antibiotics are most costly. So mostly rural people depend on herbal medicines. That's why we are going to conduct series of seminars in rural colleges, in different district colleges. We have already conducted one seminar in Medinpur district colleges. We will conduct another seminar in Medinpur colleges because of this. So our motto is to chemistry should be for everyone. Chemistry should be for, but the sad truth is that chemistry does not welcome everybody now. Nowadays, chemistry does not welcome. As I see in the last 2 years, particularly in Calcutta colleges, there is a dearth of chemistry students. So we don't know the reasons. We have to seriously look into this. Now, chemistry, physics is a basic science. But for the last 2 years, there is a dust of. So chemistry does not welcome everyone. Hello girls, so do you like chemistry? You should not leave chemistry, those who are here from chemistry. So how many of you are here from chemistry? Please raise your hands. Students, faculty I know, so you are chemistry students. So what should I say? You should not leave chemistry. You should not go to other streams. Because chemistry protect your health. Chemical science protect your health. And you know, health is wealth. So without health you cannot prosper. So you should not give chemistry. Chemistry is interesting. It is a life science. It is environmental science. Everything covered, everything controlled by principles of chemistry. Now, I don't want to lengthen my talk because renowned speakers are here. We are very fortunate. Oh, sorry, botany students are also here. Botany faculty members are also here. Because you know, chemistry is not possible alone. We have to take the help of botanists. We have to take the help of biologists. We have to take the help of geologists. We have to take the help of mathematicians also. But without mathematics, science cannot develop. Because first, when you opted for science in your class 11, 12, first you see what was your marks in mathematics. So mathematics is also needed for chemistry, for even in biology, biological mathematics, mathematics, biology. So chemistry basic science, my request is that we have to increase the diversity of chemistry. So many girls students face some, what we observe, many girls students face some barriers in higher study, particularly in rural area, for entering to chemistry and to stay in chemistry also. So after 1 year they leave chemistry. No, this is not good subject. We want to go otherwise. Madam is also saying, Sudesha madam, some students going to nursing, so it is better than chemistry, they think. But it's not like that. Chemistry is the interesting subject. So you should not leave chemistry. Now, regarding our speakers, we are fortunate to get to renowned scientist, Professor Alokesh Vishai, Professor, Department of Chemical Sciences, Indian Institute of Science, Education Research. He is a renowned scholar, received many awards, many projects, and I think he will enrich your knowledge, etc. Other thing. And another speaker, Dr. Vijit De, he is from Department of Biology. You see, to flourish chemistry, biology is needed. So that's why we have invited biologists, biological scientists. So, and lastly, my heartfelt gratitude to my sir, as our principal told that in our PG classes, he used to take our PG classes, and in the blackboard he was teaching like this with a chalk. In the blackboard, in the second floor, lecture center, big lecture center. We were 100 students in the PG class. Now what he did, he comes straight to the students and go to the last bench. Whether you have understood, with hand in chalk in hand. He was such a sir. And one thing I remember, in our time, there was no internet, there was no email. When someone was in Boston, in I Research Institute, Postman sir, am I correct? In I Research Institute, Boston, he used to write aerogram letters to my late Dr. Mukherjee. And Dr. Mukherjee showed us, you see what Mukherjee is doing. He is doing so many work, good work. He used to write aerogram. I remember those days when I was doing PhD in Science College. So when I requested sir, show me to be খুব বড় হয়ে গেছে তো কেন তুমি একটা বিরাট প্রজেক্ট পেয়েছো আমি ভাবতে পারিনি আমি স্যার তো আপনার জন্যই হয়েছে so science is all like that. He is our friend. Whenever I call, I feel any problem, I call sir. He tries to solve my problem. So science is like that. My heartfelt gratitude to my sir, my honorable sir. Not only the sir, but many students in every universities, in every colleges, in all over India, in abroad also. So we are very fortunate, we are very honored to get our sir over here. And I am thankful to Royal Society of Chemistry for full financial support. And I am thankful to Dr. Anup Shikdal, former principal. He was in Higher Education Council, still in Higher Education Council, and our research advisor for associating me in my project. And he knows many principals of our small colleges. Well, show me, you are not to worry. I will call principals and he will go there so that you can convince him. So I wish কি বেশি কোনো ফেললাম গার্লস স্টুডেন্টস ভালো লেগেছে তো কেমিস্ট্রি সামনে না তো কথা দাও কেমিস্ট্রি কন্টিনিউ করবে ওকে দ্যাটস অল I wish the seminar a grand success. Again, thanks to all faculty members, principal, staff, and other dignitaries in the class, and my beloved students and other faculty members, especially to Dr. Sudeshna Chatterjee for her constant support and constant cooperation. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, sir, for choosing our college and encouraging girls for pursuing chemistry. Now, after this, we will have a short coffee break and we will come back and our technical session 1 will start. 5 minutes. 5 minutes break. Coffee will be served here. Coffee will be served here in the hall.
Hello. As we are running late, would like to start the technical session as soon as possible. So please be quiet. Students, please be quiet. So we are going to start our first technical session of the day, which will be chaired by Professor Shomir Kanti Datta, who is the Dean of Science in the Herbal Education Society College. He was formerly attached to St. Xavier's College. And he is a member of Royal Society of Chemistry, London, and a life member of Indian Science Congress Association, Kolkata. And our distinguished speaker of this session is Professor Alokes Bishai. He is a professor of chemistry at Department of Chemical Sciences from ISA, Kolkata. I would like to introduce briefly from our speaker. Professor Alokes Bishai has obtained his PhD from IIT Kanpur in 2006, and immediately after that he moved to UC Berkeley, where he held postdoctoral position with Professor Richard Arbon until 2009. And during his stay at Berkeley, he completed the total synthesis of lycopodium alkaloids lycopodium A, which received considerable attention from the synthetic chemist community. In 2009, in the December of 2009, he left Berkeley and joined Department of Chemistry, ISA Herbal, as an assistant professor. And with due course of time, in 2018 January, he became a full professor. And he continued his academic journey at ISA Herbal till 2020. And after that, he moved to Department of Chemical Sciences, ISA Kolkata, where he has set up his own research lab in synthesis of natural product and analogs for drug discovery. Their group is primarily interested in making architecturally interesting and biologically active natural products, which provide an ideal platform for the invention of new oxidative strategies and highly selective organic transformations. His total synthesis of pyrrolofluoroindolene alkaloids has been highlighted on organic chemistry portal as the Bishai synthesis of minus physobenene. Needless to say that he has obtained many awards and appreciations from several organizations all over the world during his journey. Just to mention a few, he has obtained BRNS Young Scientist Award and Grant in 2011. He has obtained BST Young Scientist Award Grant in 2013. He has obtained CRSI Young Scientist Award in 2018. He was awarded ACRB Star Award in 2020. He has got bronze medal in Chemical Research Society by the Chemical Research Society in 2021. He has obtained silver medal Chirantan Rasayan Sanstha in 2021 and CDRI Award in 2022, Excellence in Drug Research. With this brief introduction, we are waiting to hear Professor Bishai's valuable lecture. And I would like to invite Professor Bishai and Professor Shomir Datta on stage. And Professor Shomir Datta, I would like to request you to take on the session.
Hello. Now I welcome Professor Bishai for his valuable lecture. Our madam has already elaborated, has explained in details about his research areas, research activities. It appears from his activities, from his research work, from his awards, that he is a renowned scientist in this field, and I requested him, I invited him to come over here, and I am thankful to him, and he has kept my request, and he has come here for delivering this valuable lecture. Now, I request for submission.
Can you hear me? It's a great honor to be here. And thank you, sir, for the kind introduction and the invitation. So at the outset, I'd like to thank many people and respected Professor, our host, our Indian Medical Society, Professor Phytochemicals is already there. And I can see that many students of him, as well as he rightly pointed out, I'm the third generation. You guys are only the fourth generation. Okay. And thank you, sir, for being here and giving the advice to the Indian Medical Society, which is the oldest medical society in India, established in 1924, under the Herbal leadership of Sir PC. We talked about Atmanirbhar Bharat today, but in 1924, Sir PC already has done what needs to be done in the form of bamboo chemical. Even in the era of COVID, the research what he has done, that kind of drugs, that molecule also has been taken for the cure of COVID initially. Even RSC, which is I think 175 years old society, RSC also recognized his contribution. And I know the history because RSC also solicited Sir DC Ray. And so we are fortunate to be chemists, to be scientists as a whole. I thank Professor Doctor for the kind introduction. Also, thanks to Madam for holding it, and thank you, sir, for being here. And also, I welcome all students and my friends and colleagues. So, when Professor Doctor said that, can you give a lecture on phytochemicals, then I said yes. It's a very exciting area actually. What people now consider, because we have divided this science into chemistry, organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, biology, physiology, botany, and all this. But if you think about any discovery, I think we have to see Mother Nature, how she is operating. And this is what I will give you some story. I will not discuss about what research we particularly do, complex molecular and all. I just wanted to overview why this particular seminar, what RSC, sponsored it, why it is important. I will ask basic question and try to understand in layman's language that why actually we should worry about not only chemistry but also biology, every branches of science. So I also must thank Professor Nisimukati for the Indian Chemical Society Award, the Musibli Award, this time, Indian Chemical Society. Thank you very much. So, if you look at the title of my talk, it is natural product and phytochemicals, right? So, Professor Dutta has already elaborated why one should worry about it. But for the student benefit, I would like to ask you a question. Why actually we should worry about phytochemicals? And for every research, there will be some inspiration and thought process. Okay? And mostly these are based on either, mostly societal benefit, either in the form of materials, drug discovery, or anything you take it. Even engineering is nothing but science. At some point, everything actually merges together. If you take chemical engineer, at some point, when they do advanced research, they do collaborate with biology, chemistry. Similarly, engineering is also nothing but constant science when it comes to research discoveries. And so there is no boundary actually for research. Okay, and through this, we would like to little bit try to understand. Even I try to understand from my student while discussing with my student that what is the target, what is the actually, what is the principle behind drug discovery. And if we try to little bit understand, I think then we'll appreciate our mother nature, how she operates in the environment. Because for chemistry, we do research in a confined area called laboratory. For nature, it is whole universe. She is doing everything in the universe. All chemical phenomena, everything is operating in nature. And in fact, it is scientists who are actually getting idea from nature. By nurturing the processes, chemical processes, biological processes operating in nature, okay, we try to mimic what she is doing in this. I will give you some example. So if you look at the discovery program, I am just coming to the importance of phytochemicals, why it is important. If you look at it, it is mostly ADME principle. And if you look at this ADME principle, it is nothing but what we do is we take a foreign molecule, chemical entities to our biological system. Once we take them, then it has to do some properties. Then it has to dissolve in the biological system because our system is completely aqueous media. So therefore, organic solvent and all this, one has to avoid. And you will see most of the drug will have heteroatom anchor. Who are they? Either nitrogen, sulfur, you take any drug molecule or you take. Either if they are carboxylic acid, it should be in the form of salt. So that polarity increases, so that it can dissolve in polar solvent like water. Okay? So, again, what we say that homo-lumo principle to form a bond, where a higher occupied molecular orbital combined with a lower unoccupied molecular orbital to form a bond. Even any electronic interaction can be seen like this way. You have electron withdrawing species and electron donating species, they will have some interest, right? So therefore, this also tells us why heteroatoms are very, very important. So that if you look at the literature, approximately 50% drug will have heteroatom, particularly nitrogen. Because we know among nitrogen and oxygen, oxygen being more electronegative, so it will not easily try to give the electron. However, nitrogen could do, and therefore take part in many hydrogen bonding, many covalent reactions, and all the reaction what is going on. I am talking it's because of chemistry. Professor D.C. Mukherjee has rightly pointed out. You start in the morning, you start brush, do again at the night time, and all this phenomena is nothing but actually chemical or physical or it's a science driven actually things happening every day. I am looking at you. That means again chemistry is playing a role there. We have talked about Japanese diagram, photochemistry. If you look at the chemistry behind vision, okay, chemistry behind vision, you can see that retinal will have a double bond. That double bond, how it isomerizes, and that signal goes to neuron. Therefore, we need light who can activate to the photochemistry there. Okay. In fact, last year, Nobel laureate David Macmillan from Princeton, who started his career at UC Berkeley, then went to Caltech, then went to Princeton, and he got Nobel. He has worked on many such systems, iminium type species, and actually we have opsin protein, and in that protein we have lysine residue. See, one has to understand biology. Without knowing biology, doing chemistry is very tough, because everything what we follow is nothing but our biological system itself is having chirality, right? You take any amino acid, they are all in the form of L. You take sugar, they are all in the form of D sugar, L amino acid. Now these are the simple, small building block for nature. She can take all this and make complex molecule. And all these phytochemicals actually coming from such reactivities when it is combined together. Okay? So it is like you go to kitchen, mother will keep something, and if kid goes there and eat anything, nothing will happen. Because it is knowing that mother will never keep a poison over there. Right? So similarly, if you look at nature, whatsoever she has made and created, if we only nurture them and get some secondary metabolites, phytochemicals are nothing but secondary metabolites isolated from various species from nature. Therefore, people think that since nature knows how to make a thing and break a thing, so I am just coming to that point. So distribution is another thing, and metabolism is the most important criteria. That is why most of the drug discovery fail. Okay? Any molecule to become a drug, it has to be approved by certain agencies. It is FDA from US or it will be European Union. Normally you make a drug, they check all this cytotoxicity and then they say that okay, you can go ahead and utilize this molecule for the cure of certain disease. Right? So these are all chemical entities, but then why such problem? The problem because when nature making a things, she also knows how to break a things. Nature follows beautiful principle. Principle of microscopic reversibility. What is that? Nature knows how to make glucose. Nature also knows how to break a glucose. So when I need, I can make it. When it is got required, I can break it. So a circular chemistry is operating there. Okay? Now if I have a synthetic drug whose mechanism of action is not known by the biological system, such species will accumulate in the biological system and therefore it will lead to some adverse effect over the period. Right? And therefore it is understood that it is phytochemicals or other natural product what is being made by nature, and since she knows how to make and how to break, like fatty acid photosynthesis, if you look at, again chemistry principle involved. You make fatty acid starting from acetyl coenzyme, and then if you follow, nature also knows how to break that. Because if she only make, then accumulate in our body, and that will have again adverse effect. So therefore, principle of microscopic reversibility itself came from nature. And in fact, any good research, everything is nature inspired. I can take you one example. Let's say alcohol reaction. People got Nobel Prize. In fact, 2021, Professor Benjamin List from Max Planck got Nobel Prize from aldol reaction. Now, if you look at aldol, this aldol is a process used for combination of 2,3 carbon basic unit from fructose. What are those? Diglyceraldehyde monophosphate and dihydroxyacetyl monophosphate. What they do? They do aldol reaction. How it happens? There are protein which is having epsilon amine lysine. Lysine is one alpha amino acid which has an additional primary amine group. You know, chemist and biology student must know for the structures of alpha amino acid, and we know there are some neutral alpha amino acid, there are some basic nature, there are some acidic residue. Lysine particularly, what is that? Alpha amino acid, then you have CH2, 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 NH2, right? So that primary amine can react with ketone to give you enamine. So that can happen with dihydroxyacetone and add with diglyceraldehyde monophosphate. So that is the first thing happened, 3 carbon join. If you hydrolyze, that is nothing but fructose. Now this fructose can have a benzene, it can cyclize. Now fructose can undergo Amadori rearrangement. What is this? Nothing but ketoenol tautomerization, and therefore it can be converted to glucose. Now we see glucose structure which is cyclic form, pyranose, which is most stable, right? So now, when it has to go reverse direction, nature also know how to go from there to fructose and again break to get simple species. So therefore, knowing biology is very, very important in order to do the drug discovery. And I think we believe that lack of biology knowledge leads to many drug discovery that lead to cytotoxicity. Okay, again, what I'm trying to say is that inclusive in nature, as Professor Datta has correctly pointed out, RSC is trying to do inclusion. So he showed in one of the ways how to do inclusion, but in research also we have to be inclusive. When we do a research, we need to understand idea from biology, chemistry, we need idea from mathematics. If you look at computer science, it's nothing but it's related to mathematics. Okay? Think about any engineering, they are related to science, basic science. Basic science will never die. Basic science has to be there. Okay? Now, excretion again, which is very important because if you take a drug molecule, if you break it into pieces, unless it goes out from the system, these chemical species will do interaction with the receptor, therefore there will be accumulation and that would lead to some adverse effect. Okay? And now, why phytochemicals? As nature knows how to make, how to break. So it is understood that biological system, since they know this process, so if we use phytochemical as drugs, then it will have better success rate. Because what they will do, if you fragment them, it will lead to some small chemical species which will directly or indirectly take part in other biological processes like Krebs cycle and all this. Whatever we have learned in biology, that idea is very, very important. Now, and this also shows that circular chemistry approach. Nowadays there is a term, circular chemistry, a new term coined. What is that circular chemistry? You do anything, you go there and then you end it. So what is this? This is nothing but following principle of microscopic reversibility. What sees already, nature is already doing it, following it. So every research is nothing but some way or other, it is nature inspired. So we must respect nature, we must know what are the simple chemical transformation happening in the biological system. Therefore, one has to understand simple biological processes and one has to add chemistry idea, not only chemistry, many other areas, because nowadays DFT calculation also help you to give, predict some of the mechanism, how enzymes are behaving. So if you look at now biological system, so what you need is a three-dimensional architecture, because if you take alpha amino acid or sugar, they are all having three-dimensional architecture. What I mean is that they are not just simple flat molecule. If I take a flat molecule, it can go my biological system and it can do unselective binding with the receptor. But if I have a molecule which is having a chiral pocket, it has to go and sit like this. It cannot, so there will be a proper match with the receptor and the chemical entities also called drug molecule. Right? So it is very, very important, and therefore phytochemicals and their derivative with three-dimensional architecture is very important. I will take few examples and I will give you some of the story. I am not going to discuss too much about what research we do. Those are, if you just use the simple fundamentals, you can make complex molecule. Nothing, to worry about it. Now, if you look at folic acid is a vitamin B9 and which is a marketed drug. It's used for certain medication. You can find it out through Google. Now, what is that? This is nothing but, if you look at this molecule, now, based on the retrosynthetic logic, a chemist can make various ways, but for nature, that is the only one way she follows. If we know how she is making, that will give us a lot of interesting idea how to make such molecule in so-called sustainable process. Now, this kind of molecule, is having pteridine ring, there are aminobutyric acid, and you can see this right hand side, this is nothing but glutamic acid. Now these are contents to get folic acid. Now how this pteridine coming from? Pteridine is a very heterocyclic molecule. It is coming from guanosyl triphosphate. So what is happening? This guanosyl is actually do some sort of oxidation reduction, leading to the formation of this kind of structure. In this slide, what I am trying to show here is that it is a natural product, or it's already a chemical which nature produced. Now by changing here, like NH, if you just change it to N-methyl, and if you do aminolysis, somehow you bring one ammonia over there, that is nothing but methotrexate. So basically what this slide shows, that it's a nature inspired discovery. This anti-cancer agent is nothing but inspiration got from nature, because nature makes this. What people have done, just modify this molecule little bit and found that this kind of drug are very, very useful for the combat of some certain cancer. Now we think about this molecule, doxorubicin and danorubicin. Okay, again, these are isolated from some natural sources. Okay. Now, if you look at, these are actually used as anti-cancer drug. Still these are the molecules used for anti-cancer medication. Right? Who are they? These are nothing but isolated from nature. Now we have to understand how nature is making this kind of scaffold. Okay? In fact, we say that even organic chemistry has to, repurpose. Nowadays repurpose drug is, coming into the picture, because through repurpose one can use the same drug to cure the other disease, or is already known for one particular disease. Now with the same drug, if we can do in that way, drug discovery program will be facilitated. Why? Because the cytotoxic activity of such drug molecule is already reported. So therefore, without doing much, cost involvement, one can do repurpose drug. Similarly, we strongly feel that we have to do repurpose in teaching as well. We have to appreciate from every branches of science, and we have to bring the connection from the nature, because all discovery is nothing but some way or other connected with all nature. Nobel-winning discoveries are directly connected with nature. Okay, so I think we need to know the nature, and if we know nature, then it will give us the idea how actually to proceed. So this is Taxol. Looks very complex molecule actually. Okay, it's a Taxol. It's again another anti-cancer, medication. Now what is practically Taxol? It is nothing but a phytochemical. You look at this. So this was isolated in 1971. Okay. Now this was isolated from this species. Okay. So this is one type of conifers. Now this is approved for medication, in 1993, and this is one of the whose list of essential medical medicines. Okay. So what is this? It's a phytochemical. So we need to understand how nature is making this. Okay. Therefore, as a chemist student, we need to do some retrosynthesis and see the backbone and how this kind of the starchinoid core nature is making. Okay, can we devise some method in the laboratory to make it, in faster way? Okay, because the problem with the natural product or phytochemicals would be, see, there are limited source available. But if you see the population is growing, so one need to synthesize them so that we have sufficient quantity in our hand to go for biological evaluation or other studies. Right? So therefore, everything is required. It has to be inclusive. One need to know how to synthesize it. One need to know how I have natural sources available, how to isolate them, how to take it for biology, how to do biological profile. And so it requires idea from every branches of science. Okay. So in that way, I consider the RSC has done a great job giving opportunity this kind of conferences or seminars to be inclusive, not only in gender and all this, but also taking the idea from every branches of science. Look at this is the medication available. Okay, this is sold under the brand name of Traxol, and this is a chemotherapy medication used for certain type of cancer. And if you look at this molecule, now, as I said, three-dimensional architecture is very, very important. Now, if you are a student of chemistry, of course, even student of biology also must know. So these are R and S nomenclature, just to simply understand how to represent a three-dimensional structure on a two-dimensional flat, either paper or blackboard. Okay. So one need to understand this stereogenic center, because if you change one of the stereogenic center, their biological activities will actually change. And this will remind you thalidomide story. Thalidomide is a small drug which had a stereogenic center, and it causes birth defect in 1960s in many Western countries, because this molecule was not a chiral one, it was a racemic compound. And in fact, nowadays, FDA also suggesting to have the test of, if you make any molecule and doing drug discovery and having chiral center, they suggest that you make both enantiomeric form of this and then do the cytotoxicity studies. And you have to look at that which particular enantiomers are better than the other one. To take an example, like citalopram. Citalopram is an anti-depressant tablet, is available. It's a drug, marketed drug, citalopram. Now, nowadays, the citalopram is getting replaced by S-citalopram. What is S-citalopram? Is nothing but one of the enantiomer of citalopram. Right? So, enantiomeric form of drugs are very, very important, because of thalidomide story actually tell us one has to be very, very careful. Now, what phytochemicals, they are already inbuilt chirality, because since nature is making them, nature will make in one of the enantiomeric form. Okay. Look at azithromycin. Okay. So this is people know about this name, azithral, azithromycin. People have taken during COVID, and nowadays, earlier people used to think that don't take, it's not good. Actually, it's not good. But nowadays people are worried. The COVID era, something will happen. Take azithromycin. My kid who is 4-year-old, something goes wrong, and then we go to doctor, and then doctor says that okay, I think you can start now giving this. So what is this molecule? Again, if you look at, this is a synthetic one. This is not a phytochemical. And wherever it is not phytochemical or natural one, we have to be worried. So therefore, this kind of molecule one should avoid taking unless there is urgency, right? Like paracetamol is something, if you look at earlier, the dosage was 400 milligram. Nowadays it is 650 milligram, right? That dose is also very, very important, because it's a simple fundamentals. If I take a foreign molecule, I should consume as less as possible. If I take more amount, what can happen? You think about paracetamol, chemist student can understand what is that. It's a para-aminophenol. You acetyl it. So it is N-acetyl para-aminophenol. Now, when it goes to biological system, there are ROS, reactive oxygen species. Because of oxidation, this kind of species can make para-benzoquinol. Like 1,4-quinol, oxidized to give you para-benzoquinol. Para-benzoquinones are nothing but a Michael etc. Now in the nature you have natural thiols like glutathione, cysteine, homocysteine. Now these thiols are very, very, these are soft nucleophile and they can trap with this. So therefore if you take more paracetamol, they go inside and they trap many naturally occurring thiol. Therefore, so they trap actually Therefore, the reactivity of this thiol is getting disturbed. So it is never ever, advisable to take more paracetamol. But however, there is no other way out. People have to take. So that is why student has a lot of opportunity to do research and find out better drug. So particularly chemistry, biology students having a lot of opportunity. Okay. Like you take one molecule, like this is a big molecule which has been isolated. This is a phytochemical actually. Helicobacter isolated. However, it has been found that if you take a truncated molecule only this much, this is known as halavan, and you need only 1 milligram doses for the treatment of breast cancer. This is the breast cancer drug currently available. Any will initiate. Okay. Now when they do formulation of drug, what kind of acid they will use to make salt is also important. Instead of bicillate, if you take tosylate or brucylate, that will have different type of effect. Okay. So a drug discovery takes long way actually, and it's a time bounding process, and so I think some problem is there in my slide. Can you go next? Okay, so I think I can deal this one directly. Excuse me, sorry for the technical glitches. Can you directly apply? देखा मैंने यहाँ पे full screen working. Okay, sorry, actually, এটা খুললেও ব্ল্যাঙ্ক দেখাচ্ছে না। হ্যাঁ স্যার, পেটার থেকে আচ্ছা একটা জন্য ব্যাকি আরেকটা আমার কম্পিউটার আপনি লাগাতে পারবেন? হ্যাঁ, আরেকটু অ্যাকচুয়ালি কেলগ্রো ফাইলগুলো সাপোর্ট করছে। I just kept 10 more minutes, please. So sorry because so there is some technical problem, but it is better. Just a minute. Yeah, so I'm sorry for the technical glitches. So name of it because there are some tendrils like actually that is not supported by this. So now we do synthesis of some of the alkaloid to the stone. Actually, these are used for galanthamines like anti-monster. Okay, this is another disease is actually threat for the society. So there are a number of isolated molecules. Again, these are phytochemicals, and we have seen that this kind of molecule, what nature can do, they can do integrating approach. Let's say you have a simple molecule. Now, since she knows that she is having L-amino acid, sugar, lot of terpene, isoprene unit. Now, those small molecule can actually attach with various places like wherever you can see a nucleophile region. Okay, a chemical principle takes place. Like if you look at here and there, see this is called galanthamine, which is known as this is for marketed drug. But if you look at this and this molecule here, this alcohol is reacted with 3-hydroxy, butanoic acid. Okay, so what is this? This is somehow integrating with one molecule with another phytochemical. So this is also available in nature, and if you look at this portion, it is also available. What nature is doing is that combining them. So the reason I am saying this gives an idea how to integrate molecule to get a better drug. So the purpose is they should be integrated, but via some chemical principle. That is why basic chemistry principle is very important, where I can actually integrate those molecules. Okay, again, this nature can actually tell you. Okay, so therefore, following nature is very, very important. And what we do, following such processes, we have developed many oxidative processes to integrate molecules like this. These are all actually drug molecules. And what we have seen over the period, if we follow that strategy, then our life becomes very easy. Student can synthesize this complex molecule in very simple way. Okay? Then how to integrate them? So we rely on the chemical processes happening in the natural product. So these are some molecules that we have synthesized. As Professor Mukherjee also pointed out, there is a dark side of chemistry. Okay. Now, you look at lysergic acid, and everybody aware of LSD, which is actually nothing but carboxamide of N-N-diethylamine. That is called. So it is N-N-diethyl carboxamide of lysergic acid. That is called LSD, which is banned because of 1960s counterculture in Western countries. Okay. Having hallucinogenic properties, people have used as drug, to have adverse effect. So therefore, so a chemical can also give you some properties which is not welcome for the society. Okay, but as a scientist, you have to decide which one is required and which one to make. So we have also made many other alkaloids. Showing over here, I am not going to detail all this. These are some of the other phytochemicals. Those are indolosesquite terpene alkaloids. As in today's first lecture, Madam was saying that isoprene, terpenoids, So these actually coming from such terpene structure, and this is coming from some carbonyl anchor core. And they can combine to give us a number of phytochemicals, and that has been isolated. Look at these are isolated in 2011, 2012, and many more to be isolated. Okay? The beauty is that nature knows how to make all these complex molecules and in a very simple way. So, for our group, because of this isolation paper in 2021, so this paper said that this molecule is active for the treatment of COVID, and that is where we got attracted, and we have done some research in this, and which we have published in Chemical Science, one of the flagship journal of RSC. More interestingly, the monomer can also give NN dimer. Okay. Now, NN dimer is leading to atrobisomer. If you look at these two molecules, one might think that there is no difference, but yes, there is difference. Like R binol and S binol. Okay, axially chiral molecule. You know, so if you look at the stereochemical center, they are not same. They are two different molecules. They are atrobo-diastereomers. So we have developed strategies. So it is Phil Barron from Scripps. They have shown that electrochemical approach can be utilized to take a phytochemical and get another phytochemical. Okay, it is oxidation strategy, and they have shown that one of these molecule can be made, not the other one, and that is why we do challenge. And I am not going to discuss the synthetic strategy. I will just end my talk in 5 minutes. So, if you look at the hypothesis, how such molecule is getting dimerized, if you take this particular carbazole, since these are electron-rich molecule, can you do single electron oxidation? If you do single electron oxidation process, this molecule will generate a radical cation. Now, if you remove H plus, this is nothing but N-center radical. Now, because this N-center radical link with an aliphatic ring, this radical can get stabilized here, there, like this in the ring. And now, this radical now can combine to give a number of alkaloids. So, what we try to do, we try to follow the process used by nature, and then we try to come up with some strategy. I am not going to discuss all this strategy, but this is what is our recent paper, Chemical Science, which is actually published in Royal Society of Chemistry. I am not going to discuss all this chemical strategy, but chemistry student will actually understand how actually we follow a 1-2 migration and stabilizing this carbocation and then reacting with bromine NBS to get a secondary bromide, and we have utilized that process to get the synthesis of such thing, and it takes some time. It took actually 2 years to complete all these molecules, but what we have found that a single molecule can give us a number of phytochemicals. Those are isolated formulations. So in our laboratory, what we can do is that we can take a target and follow simple oxidation or reduction strategy to get such molecule. And what we try to do is that we try to avoid metal while doing this. And we use some cases we use metal when we see that there are some metal enzymes are available. What kind of metal enzymes are available? Based on that we choose some metal, because nature will not use all metal, right? Some of the metals will be there, which is already in metal protein. So that is again the guiding factor. What sorts of metal catalysts we should use? So what I just wanted to convey you to the students that that we need to know the nature. Okay. If we know how Mother Nature is operating, how she is making molecules, how she is utilizing it, okay, then that is the way forward in today's context. Of course, the idea from all branches of science is required. The first thing for drug discovery, one need to understand how biology is operating, and to know that, we need to know the chemistry behind it. So many times what happens, you ask a biologist, so they say that I don't care about chemistry. You ask chemistry before, they say, biology, they are just doing like this. No. We need to respect each other, and if we combine all these phenomena, then only something good, something for societal benefit can come out. Okay? Without setting a hand together, nothing is possible. Okay, we have to appreciate all branches of science, and of course you all are very bright student, and it's a one line. I think that you should pursue your dream, what you want to be in life, and what you like more. Okay, and in higher study, people think that there is no job. পড়ে কি করবে? I suggest that it is simple basic science which require less money. You know, tuition fees, if you go to Sarkari school, Sarkari college, tuition fees are very less. Okay? And if I do that, if I go to some place, you know, it's a pyramid. Now, if I have done only BSc, trying to look for a job, you know, I am here in the pyramid, in the bottom. Competition will be huge. I go little bit up, MSc. So it's a pyramid. Slowly this is coming around. Now, opportunity is increasing. Now, after MSc also there will be competition. Let's go for one more round, PhD. It's a pyramid. Postdoc. And it is one life. BHD is so much more. Doesn't matter. Many times people think that BHD is a program. But I think it's a one life. One should pursue their dream. And there are a lot of opportunities in chemistry and biology. Only thing is that we have to think, we have to go a little up and then think. We have to look at the society little bit going up. Like if I have done PhD, if I get an opportunity to go abroad, do postdoc, then I can also do a lot of different postdoc and gather, you know, all this knowledge. And then with that knowledge, I can be able to do something else. And today, going Western countries is just like that. Everybody going. Everybody. And today we have mobile. Earlier days, when I was at Berkeley, America, I used to call my mother next door. And then she would tell, hey, Dada, take a then 8 ঘন্টা পর আবার ফোন করতাম কথা বলার জন্য। It is actually 2005 and 6 I am talking about. But today, you have whole world in your hand. Right? You do a WhatsApp call and do it. So what I am saying is that these sorts of things should not be the, you know, burden for to explore your dream. Okay? So I think this is what I mean. So, okay, if you have any question, I will be happy to address. But I just thought that maybe the importance of phytochemicals and natural product research is very, very important, and that must be explored with the expertise of you know, other branches of science. Thank you so much.
Wonderful nature. He has described the Herbal. He has nicely described our basic thing of our seminar. There is a basic chemistry behind the drugs. Drugs are nothing but some chemical molecules. Drugs are nothing but chemical molecules, and those can be created. Those can be generated from natural sources. So he has got tremendous publications in renowned and high profile peer-reviewed journals, Royal Society Chemistry, American Chemical Society, Journal of Organic Chemistry. So I think you have understood. So can I ask one question?
Yeah, please. I will follow the
Now, you have cited examples of many anti-cancer drugs, and you are saying the source is natural. Source is natural, excepting only 1 or 2 drugs, that is algin, like that. So most of the sources of drugs are natural products. So natural products. What chemists are doing? They are synthesizing the drugs and they supply to the distributor and they sell it. Now the chemists or scientists or pharmaceutical scientists or chemical scientists are synthesizing with the chemical ingredients, or they are isolating the ingredients from the natural source, that is the plant source. What we are doing practically.
So yeah. So the best thing is that what sir says, if you can isolate them and use for societal benefit. However, we have to understand there are such species, okay? Those are also limited amount in the universe, okay? But population is going increasing day by day. Then there will be sometime all the natural sources will be vanished, okay? So therefore, we need to understand how to make them in large quantity. Because once we understand this particular phytochemicals is having very interesting druggable properties and it can cure, combat some of the disease, then with that knowledge, then chemist has to come up with an approach how I can make it in turn and terms. Because population is increasing. So basically we get idea from phytochemicals.
Isolation of the ingredients, chemical ingredients behind the drugs from natural source,
Yeah.
particularly in pure form, is difficult.
Very difficult
Pure form it should be.
and very important.
And very
Important and very
pure
difficult
form.
also.
Rather, we collect ingredients and by applying principles of chemistry, we are synthesizing. It is the practice going on.
Yes.
The source is nature.
Yeah.
That is phytochemistry.
Yeah, phytochemistry.
Source is nature.
Yeah.
That is difficult. I think maybe cost effective also.
Yeah.
To collection of the that plants is also that is alkaloids. That's,
Yeah.
what is called distillation.
And then the source also will be
Source will be managed.
Therefore, yeah.
Urban development.
Yeah.
So you are synthesizing different ingredients.
Yes.
You are taking that down.
Yeah.
That's why. Okay, any questions?
Thank you, sir, for such a great lecture. I have a question, it is a bit out of context. You said regarding the paracetamol.
Yeah.
Whenever we are in a fever, even if it is a kid, infant, anyone, we go visit a doctor and they give a paracetamol capsule or something. एक बारी ना dose बोलो एक बारी ना. If it is 500, it will dose body 650 করে দাও. Means they are very much casual in using. We are also using whenever. Still, I have a fever. I am using paracetamol. No, the thing is, what is for the commoners? Means what, whether we should use or is there any alternative? For because we I'm talking from the front of commoners that whether we don't know anything. We can't manufacture. We don't know anything about biology. We don't know anything about chemistry. So what is the suggestion for those people actually?
That's a $1 billion question. Very simple question, but this is the challenge actually. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Very interesting question. Said that we are still using paracetamol, right? And in fact, we are dependent on China to make paracetamol. You know, the ingredient of paracetamol is nothing but phenol. We Indians, we are actually dependent on China. We are buying this simple chemical. We even do not know how to make Ultan and ton, metric ton scale. Okay. Now that is one problem. The problem what Madam has asked that doctor is saying that you take this, and we have to take because there is no alternatives. The question is, if I have an alternatives, then only I can have an options A, B, C. We do not have any alternative now. Therefore, much research should be directed towards that line. But that is where scientific community has to understand. We are still believing on paracetamol. We are increasing the dose. It started 400 earlier, and I have seen 400 it was for adult. Nowadays it is 650 milligram. That is prescribed. But we have to take maybe 1000. But we have to take because there is no alternative. That is the sad part. And I think this is where all young generation, they have to ask this kind of simple question and come up with some idea and do research in that direction. That I as a chemist know paracetamol is a molecule which can capture biomolecules like biothiols available, like glutathione, cysteine, homocysteine. These thiols are very soft nucleophile and it can act with the paracetamol when it is oxidized. And now in the biological system, there are a lot of Ross dependent study you will see reactive oxygen species there. And since this paracetamol, if you take this OH and NH, the pK value, the acidity of this OH, like very high. Like pK of phenol is 9.8, which we use carbonic acid actually, if there is only one OH. Now if it is paraquinol, they can easily oxidize to get parabenzoquinol. And once it is benzoquinol, we know this can easily do 1,4-addition. So therefore this biothiols can be trapped. Now what is the job of biothiols in the biological system? They manage ROS. When these reactive oxygen species become more, they get oxidized themselves to get sulfur-sulfur bond, and they help us. So therefore it's a billion-dollar question. What is the alternative of paracetamol? Answer, I don't know. That is where new generation, even we should be involved to find out an alternative of paracetamol. But everything is like, if doctor prescribe, please take.
So this is an SOS.
Yeah, it's SOS.
If we are having fever, definitely they will give us that paracetamol, fever হয়ে যাবে, নেমে যাবে। But if feverটা নেমে যাবে, তারপরে আমাদের মধ্যে যে মেটাবলিক অ্যাক্টিভিটি আর ওই সব যেটা
ওটা ডিস্টার্ব হচ্ছে, তাহলে ছেড়ে যাবে কোথায়? সেটা আমরা দেখছি না বাবা। আর ওই যে অ্যাক্টিভিটি গুলো হবে, ওটা তো আফটার সার্টেন টাইমে করা হবে। মেবি আফটার a year, after 2 years, that will start.
Whenever I say someone that don't take so much paracetamol, even I don't take paracetamol, I use papers and all that. So, doctors don't do it.
Alternative.
Beshi against it বললে
So I think these are the future. Sitting, all these students are the future. They can do some research to find out something alternative. যেমন একটা যখন ড্রাগ মার্কেটে আসে, ওর সাইটোটক্সিসিটি চেক করা হয়, কতদিন পর্যন্ত ওর অ্যাক্টিভিটিটা ঠিকঠাক আছে। But what happened after that? There is also big business involved in FDA, drug discovery program, drug approval, right? আমি কতদিন ধরে ওটা টেস্ট করতে চেক করছি যে অ্যাডভান্স এফেক্টটা কখন হচ্ছে না, কতদিন ধরে আমি করছি, তার বেসিসে আমি একটা ড্রাগকে মার্কেটে আনলাম। বাট হোয়াট হ্যাপেন আফটার 5 ইয়ার, হোয়াট হ্যাপেন আফটার 10 ইয়ার? সেটা প্রত্যেকটা ধরে ড্রাগ তো আসবেই না মার্কেটে, তাহলে কি হবে? দেখার দরকার। তো এটি যে অ্যাভেলেবিলিটি ভার্সেস ডিমান্ড, ডিমান্ড ভার্সেস অ্যাভেলেবিলিটি। অ্যাভেলেবল নাই, তার জন্য আমরা প্রবলেম ফেস করছি। The simple way to escape, if I want to escape, I will say these are the future generation, they should look for it. Even I myself should look to this.
Sir, I have a question. Sir, how we know all the medicine chemical structure?
All the medicines are either they are isolated from nature, I mean they are phytochemicals, or আমরা বানাচ্ছি industry, I mean laboratory, and once we make them, we characterize them through spectroscopic technique. Again, they are idea of all branches of science are involved. When you characterize using NMR, mass, IR, those discovery also involve the idea of all branches of science. Okay? From there we can characterize those compounds. I welcome you all to ISA Kolkata. If you want to do any project around those, you can go to not only ISA, you can go to any other places as well. So if there is opportunity, please visit. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Vijay, for your wonderful lecture.
Thank you.
I think we are
Sorry, মানে ওখানে
So we are going to have a break for 15 minutes. After that, we will have our technical session 2. Okay, please don't go anywhere. Please be seated in the place and have coffee and little refreshment that will be provided to you. And we'll be back within 15 minutes. Hello. We are very happy to announce that the speaker of our second session is already here, Dr. Abhijit De. Will introduce him in due course, but now some break is there. So I request all the students to keep quiet, to be please seated here, and after 15 minutes we will all assemble here and we will introduce our second speaker and the other dignitaries who are here to come. And I request our distinguished guests to please accompany our respected principal to have some rest. The refreshment will be served here. Please be quiet.
Now, in continuation with the seminar, the second technical session will start. Today's technical session 2 will be chaired by Dr. Anup Kumar Shekdar, Research Advisor, Bhawanipur Education Society College, Kolkata. Sir has 30 years of experience as a principal with 121 international publication and 60 national publication. Sir was also an honorary scientist at ISI, Kolkata. Sir is also a peer team member in NAC and also an UGC academic member. Sir is also an advisor member in West Bengal Higher Education Council and Sir has main research interest in genetic engineering and bioinformatics. Sir, kindly take the chair. Today, we have with us an eminent researcher with total 389 publications. And today's speaker, Dr. Abhijit Dey, Assistant Professor in Department of Life Science, Presidency University. Dr. Dey did his PhD from Presidency University, a gold medalist in MSc, University of Calcutta, FLS, UK. Dr. Dey has received an international recognition with world ranking of top 2% scientists in 2021 database, published in 19th October 2021, created by experts at Stanford University, USA, in association with Elsewhere BV and PLOS Biology. Sir is also a fellow of the Linnean Society of London and had been nominated for full membership into Sigma Xi, the scientific research honor society formed at Cornell University in 1886. Dr. Dey has received several awards and prizes. Sir is actively involved in several projects and been a reviewer in 124 papers in 79 journals, including Elsewhere, Springer, Taylor and Francis, Billy, Nature Publishing, Grove, PLOS, Frontier, BMC, Lingvai, Walter, Kluwer, and Sage. Dr. Dey is an associate editor in reputed journals, including Frontier in Oncology, BMC Complementary Medicines and Therapies, Springer Nature, an academic editor in PLOS One, and is also active member of the editorial board in journal like Frontier in Immunology, Frontier in Pharmacology, Frontier in Plant Science, Frontiers in Microbiology, Frontiers in Chemistry, Frontiers in Genome Editing, Frontiers for Young Minds. Dr. Dey is an active member of IUCN Commission on Ecosystem Management, member of International Natural Products Science Task Force, associate member, International Society for Development and Sustainability, Japan, annual member of International Society of Immunobiology, Bristol, UK, and so on. It is an honor and a privilege for us, sir, to have you here with us today. So kindly come and enrich us with the information through your lecture on phytochemistry in the era of omics. But before starting your lecture, we want to felicitate you with a small token. Thank you, sir. You can continue. Sir,
Good afternoon, everyone. And before beginning, I must say one thing that like I had a bit of difficulty in like doing the kind of work I do in my lab with the kind of curriculum that you have in your UG or PG syllabus. If you have any query, if you feel that you are not able to comprehend anything at any point of time, you can ask me. So basically, the kind of work that I do in my lab is a very vast area, and it starts from a very basic concept in biology, that is ethnobotany, and it's one extreme that I had several field work in that particular zone, very basic field work, and at other end, I'm very much involved in different modern aspects of phytochemistry and pharmacology. So bridging the two and to put it in front of you, it was not that easy for me. I tried my best, but at any point of time, I think for the first few slides, it will be very easy for you to comprehend. But later on, if you find it difficult at any point of time, you can cross me and you can ask questions. So I have selected a topic that is quite different, considering the latest development in the field. It's a very new topic, and around a decade ago, the first time the terminology was coined, it was phytochemical genomics. So that means it's a kind of bridging between phytochemistry and genomics. We have a little bit of idea about omics, that you know, genomics that deals with the genome of different organisms or different plants or microbes or animals. And on the other hand, phytochemistry is quite common. You know, phytochemistry means the chemicals which are possessed by different plants. There are also a number of phytochemicals. Now, this phytochemical genomics, it starts from a very basic concept of ethnobotany or ethnopharmacology, and it ends with the modern aspects of gene sequencing and different types of omics study, not only genomics but also transcriptomics as well as metabolomics and other aspects of omics. Now, if we look at the traditional knowledge systems, we know that we came across a number of terminologies. Very common terminology is ethnobotany, use of medicinal plants by different cultures, different aboriginals across the world. Apart from that, this ethno-terminology is nowadays very popular as ethno-science or ethno-ecology. That means the ethnic concept of ecology or environmental science, which are being put forward by different scientists from time to time. So it's not only limited to ethnobotany, but even this ethnobotany is nowadays classified in different domains, and very interesting domains. We know about ethnobiology, that is the study of bryophytes by the ethnic people, ethnoteridology, ethnogymnology, ethnolichenology, even ethnobambology, the study of bamboo by ethnic people. So it's not only about the use of bamboo by ethnic people, but there are many dimensions, many layers, many aspects of these studies which are now integrated into mainstream research. Ethnozoology is a bit controversial yet very important term, because many of these animals which are eaten or which are used by different ethnic communities, irrespective of knowing their conservation status. So this ethnozoology, although not that popular as ethnobotany, but still is present, and many people use animals as food or as source of medicine, also considering their toxic effects. And ethnopharmacology is a big scientific dimension of ethnobotany or ethnozoology, where we analyze the ethnobotanical data with the lab studies. That means you have to validate the data. If any community claims that this plant is active against cough and cold, against fever or against cancer, you need to validate this, and this validation is known as ethnopharmacology. Now, as you all know, you all might be knowing this, that this ethnobotany came from ethnology and botany, and it is a scientific study of the relationship that exists between people and plant. Basically, a classical ethnobotany do technobotany does the survey sort of thing. That means you need to go to the people, you need to reach out for the people in different beds. Especially India, India is very rich in Aboriginal people, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, right from Northeast India to Gujarat. Wherever you go, you will come across different such communities, and they have their own sort of pharmacopoeia. They don't rely on typical modern medicine that we use, the urban people. And they use plant for food, for clothing, as currency, in rituals, in medicine, dye, construction, cosmetics, and more. So plants are a very important, integral part of their lives. Now, being an ethnobotanist, because I started my journey as an ethnobotanist during 2012-2013, and at that point of time, the documentation part is very important, as you might be knowing, because you have to generate huge amount of data set. You have to make interviews, you have to reach the people, you have to communicate with them, and it's good to know their local languages, or if you have some friend in their community, it will be helpful. And then again, you need to define or describe this ethnobotanical data set in different way. That means they do not know the scientific names. They have their vernacular names of different plants. You need to note down those names also, the common names that they use. And very interestingly, it's not typical Bangla. If you go to different parts of Bengal, even if you go to Purulia, Bankura, or Dinapur, you will find people have their local names, and that is quite different from the names that we know. Like, say for example, Central Asiatica, we call it Thankuri, Bacophonia, we call it Brahmi, but they have their own sort of names by which they call these plants. So you need to have someone who knows their local language, and since I spent my childhood in Purulia, I had a lot of friends over there, and they helped me a lot. Secondly, you need to have a taxonomist with you, because you need to identify the plant. But it's not easy to identify the plant in field, because there are certain constraints. So you need to prepare herbarium, and later on you can identify the plant with the help of BSI or any taxonomist that you know. Apart from that, many other important aspects are there. Say for example, the dose they use, whether the formulation is monoherbal or polyherbal. That means in many cases they use monoherbal formulation, that means one plant is used, and in polyherbal formulations a number of plants, mixture of number of plants in terms of juice or in terms of infusion, in terms of paste they use. And there comes the important aspect of synergy or synergism. So interaction between those molecules sometimes enhance the activity of the preparation. And many of those preparations are nowadays scientifically validated. Say for example, you know this famous Chinese lady Yu Zhou, who got Nobel Prize by discovering this artemisinin and dihydroartemisinin from Artemisia. This is a famous anti-malarial drug, and it's a pigmenting drug, and that's why she got this Nobel Prize in probably in 2015. So you need to validate the data scientifically. It's one part that you document the data. You need to document many things, the common names, that is the vernacular names, also the dose, the mode of administration. It may be oral, it may be topical. Apart from that, the drug interaction, and also the kind of administration, like the preparation, say for example, if it is a juice or infusion or paste like that. So this is one part, and then taking that medicine to the laboratory. If you find an anti-cancer drug, then you have to validate the drug whether it is actually active against the cell lines or any animals which are having that particular kind of cancer. Okay. Now, environment is always a very crucial factor, because the plants they grow in different environment, especially the tropical plant that grow in tropical climate, the temperate plants they grow in temperate climate, and not only that, a single plant may grow at different climate. They show different types of variation there in their phytochemical composition. Why? Because if the plant belongs to higher altitude, it has some other kind of stress than the plants which are growing in the plains. So the plants, say mesophytic plants, xerophytic plant, or cold-loving plants, they show different types of adaptation. As a result, they have different kind of phytochemicals that they need. That's why this ethnoecology, although it's a modern term, it is a very important part, because whenever you are considering environment as important part of this traditional knowledge, you need to know the ecology and environmental factor of that particular zone. So you can correlate or you can integrate your knowledge with that of the traditional knowledge or medicinal plant knowledge. Now there are different scopes of ethnobotany that it's a multidisciplinary aspect nowadays. It's not a single discipline, and ethnobotany is not easy. If you want to crack the biggest journal in the world in ethnobotany, you need to work hard. আমরা ethnobotany এর ডাইরেক্ট পড়ে ফেলেছি রিসেন্টলি, এটা প্রচুর ট্র্যাশ আর্টিকেল বের all over the world, but that's not done actually. But if you want to consistently crack those journals, you interact with the people working in South Africa, working in Australia, working in different parts of Europe, you will find how religious they are, how methodical they are, religious in terms of their involvement, their dedication, and the way they gather the data, the level of honesty, and also the way they publish their research articles in good journals. So ethnobotany is not a pseudoscience, it's not a very easy science. If you are doing ethnobotany with utmost dedication and effort, it will give you some world-class results in the end. So since I was saying that ethnobotany is a multidisciplinary concept, it has many classification within that ethnobiology we call it. The medicinal aspect is ethnomedicine, of course. Ethnopharmacology, as already said, that it is the validation of the data by laboratory techniques. Ethnoveterinary, that means use of those medicinal plants in the diseases of animals. Ethnonarcotics, as you know. Ethnobrology, as I already told you, and ethnocosmetic, the use of ethnic plants as cosmetics. They don't have that the brands that typically use in urban sector, but they have their own kind of cosmetics prepared from plants or other organisms. Now, in a recent declaration by WHO, World Health Organization, it said that almost 80% of the world's population, they rely on traditional medicinal knowledge. It may be direct, it may be indirect, but still 80%, you go to WHO website, you find that. So traditional medicinal knowledge is not only like ethnobotany, but again it involves alternative and complementary medicine. And in modern times, the rural health, the drugs, and the social customs, cotton industries, conservation of ecosystems, nutrition, energy, all are related to ethnobotany. Because nowadays, one terminology is very popular: nutraceuticals. So plants are not only a source of pharmaceutical. Nutraceutical is also very important. The food supplement that we have, you go to different brands. Most of those brands, they actually produce like Himalaya, Imani, Dabur. They actually sell those things. The actual information come from the rural people. Okay. In many cases they recognize that. In many cases they don't do this. But that's a fact. But there are some shortcomings. Of course, when I was working, or still I work a little bit of ethnobotany, I came across a number of problems. First problem is that reliability of information. That is one of the major constraints that I faced, because if you go to a village, if you ask people about their knowledge, in many cases their information is not reliable, especially in the days of smartphones and other gadgets. Second is biological variation. It may not be possible that the same plant always show the same kind of biological activity. There are many aspects of that. Even the same plant, the root may show activity, the stem may not, the leaf may not, or the vice versa. Likewise, the plants are so, they are so not flexible sort of thing. You cannot say that even apart from the marker compounds. For example, আমরা কি জানি বাসক বা তুলসী খেলে আমাদের কিছু রোগ সারে। Likewise, these are kind of things that we know, but in many plants, when I started working with taxus is a very potent anti-cancer plant that you know. But this taxus, right from Arunachal Pradesh to Kashmir, the whole population, they show tremendous variation in taxol content. Okay, so that's the beauty of nature. There is no such thing that it will contain this much of active principle or not. Loss of species, that is another aspect, because this decline in species richness or number of species can from overharvesting at any point of time in the recent or in the past, and loss of knowledge. Like many people die with those knowledge, and that knowledge is not transferred to the next generation, because nowadays many people, they are not fond of taking that knowledge from their ancestors. As a result of which the knowledge ends the end of that particular person or death of that particular person. The need for de-replication, another important issue, and intellectual property right issues. Of course, this IPR is a very burning issue nowadays, and lots of debate, lots of patents regarding curcumin, regarding Colgate, regarding yoga. Even these are very common, and nowadays there are many such boards which have been created, like biodiversity board. They recognize the involvement of the local people and one of the important stakeholder of this intellectual property. Now, this ethnoformology, as I told you, it's a kind of validation, that what we know, and validation can be done by different way. Again, it's a multidisciplinary subject. You need to take help from archaeologists, you need to take help from anthropologists, you need to take help from chemists and pharmacologists, and also taxonomists, because there are many aspects by which you can validate your data. At first, you can go for in vitro studies, then you can go for in vivo studies, and then you can go for clinical trials. But it's a very time-consuming, very long process. If you discover a drug, it will take 20 to 25 years that will be accepted in the mainstream medicine, and there is a very low chance of getting it accepted. There are so many parameters in between. So validation, you can very quickly validate any drug by in vitro studies. Say for example, people claim that Taxol is responsible for anti-cancer properties. I take a bit of Taxus bark and study in the laboratory in against cancer cell lines, ovarian cancer cell line or prostate cancer cell line, and I find results. That is quite obvious, because it is already a mainstream drug. Taxol is already a mainstream drug with a little bit of deviations. But considering the different facts, especially the toxicity and other aspects, it takes decades to get a drug accepted in the mainstream medicine. Now these are the things that we know or we do when we collect a plant. First of all, we go for extraction. That means we collect the plant from nature, we wash the plant, and then we go for extraction with previously published literature. Say for example, we use different solvents, maybe water, maybe any polar or non-polar solvent, to get the plant extracted, and then we go for investigating the activities of the plant, and then we have different resources by which we can examine the chemical nature of the plant. This part is very fascinating, because in my working area at this point of time, I work on chemotaxonomy, and it says that, as I already told you, Taxus plant, the taxol content varies enormously from different population at different parts of India. And there are many factors. Even it's not only that population specific variation, but also organ specific variation. Taxus is much concentrated in the bark of the plant, not in the root or not in the leaf. Although leaf and root, they have a little bit of taxol, but it is mainly concentrated in the bark. There was a hype in between, that one endophytic fungus. It was able to concentrate that taxol in huge amount, and that fungus was extracted from the plant, and from that fungus taxol was also extracted. Okay. So in any chemical, say for example bacoside, which are present in Bacophomoneae, in Central Asiatica, two compounds are present, Asiaticoside and Madagasoside. All these compounds vary. You take a population from Purulia, you take Thankuli from Kolkata, you take Thankuli from South 24 Parganas, you will find variation in those compounds, the major compounds. We call them mother compound, because these are the dominant compound found in the plant. That means in Central Asiatica, the mother compounds are Asiaticoside and Madagasoside. In Taxus, it is Taxol. In Bacophomoneae, it is Bacoside. In Rautia serpentina, it is Reserpine, Advanicin, and so on. So these compounds are mother compounds. Say for example, magiferin. Mangifera was first time discovered in Mangifera genus, but later on it was found to be present in other plants also. But still now we call it as Mangifera because it was first found in that genus as a marker compound. So marker compounds are pretty much restricted. So Razorpea is not a marker compound of Rauquia serpentina, but there are other Rauquia genus also where you can find Razorpea, like Rauquia vomitoria, Rauquia canescens, or Rauquia retrophylla. There you will find this Razorpea. And that's why this chemotaxonomy term is very important. Depending on the presence or absence of certain chemicals, you can classify the plant. এখন যে মডার্ন ট্যাক্সোনমি আমরা যে পার্টিকুলার টার্মিনেটগুলো ফলো করি, there are also chemotaxonomy play a very crucial role because all these the expression of all these genes are regulated. All these chemicals are regulated by different types of genes present in those organisms, and if they are genetically similar or identical or distant, then they can be categorized according to that. So this term that phytochemistry is a very important aspect or important parameter in classifying plants nowadays. Now there is a lot of history behind this, like you can go through these, you can consult wiki, you can consult any books that the plants, the use of medicinal plants is not a very recent thing. There are many such examples that are present. Different historians have written many things about it, and in different civilizations, right from European to the Asian civilizations, there are enormous literature portraying the different use of medicinal plants. Now, interestingly, all these plants they contain certain biological activity. Okay, that means আমরা যেটা সবসময় ভুল করি, taxus anti-cancer activity show করে না, taxus activity show করবে না। Okay, all these plants they are evolved or they are categorized in such ways that they show any kind of activity. Antioxidant activity, antioxidant activity. It's a very common thing because antioxidation is the basic thing of any biological activity. Total phenolics and total flavonoids, these are very common. Each and every plant contains flavonoids and phenolics. Okay, if you go for antioxidant activity that we do by ABTS scavenging acid or EBDH scavenging acid, each and every plant shows antioxidant activity to some extent. But there are certain particular activities which are very restricted to certain groups, like this garlic or curcumin or present in the turmeric and the grapes that are famous French paradox. French paradox কাকে বলে? ফ্রান্সের লোকেরা কি বেশি খায়? ওয়াইন বেশি খায় আর চিজ বেশি খায়। দুটোই কিন্তু মোটা হওয়ার জন্য আইডিয়াল, কিন্তু ফ্রেঞ্চ লেডি or French gentleman they are not fat. That is the French paradox. এবং এটার কারণ বলা হয় কি that resveratrol is present in the grapes. Resveratrol is one compound, a very potent antioxidant, and there are many other biological activities are also attributed to this compound so that they can maintain their health by taking that red wine. Okay. Now these plants, all of these plants, they are very useful and very famous. There are many plants which are very famous. There are many plants which are less famous. But considering this amount of phytochemicals that they produce, we have classified. Although I reckon this classification is a little vague, but still this is the primary metabolite and secondary metabolite that we call them. But there is no sharp distinction between primary metabolite and secondary metabolite, apart from the very common three primary metabolite that we know: carbohydrate, protein, and lipid. And the secondary products, which are the rest of those chemicals which are present. And in literature, you might find out that secondary metabolites that do not participate in growth and development of the plant directly. Okay, they are not necessary for the plant, but why do they produce the secondary metabolite? Because secondary metabolites are produced to combat stress, or in many cases to prevent grazing or herbivory, or it's a kind of compound that they produce which are being utilized by human beings, especially as pharmaceuticals. So plant to জানা যেটা human use করছে, right? So plants কি দরকার পড়েছে? So considering that it's not only used by human, there are different animals also in forest. They know a particular plant producing particular kind of compound. That knowledge is not like our knowledge, but if they feel fever, they eat a particular type of berry or particular type of plant. If they feel indigestion, then they use a particular kind of plant or particular kind of diet. So with their limited IQ, they are able to find out which plants are beneficial for certain disease and which are not. Likewise, the secondary products are not always beneficial for human, but they are toxic also. And this toxicity or benefit that depends on the dose of that particular compound. কোনো কিছু বেশি ভালো নয়। Okay, so এই ক্ষেত্রেও তাই secondary products are very important if they are used in a particular dose, and there comes the importance of scientific validation of any such compound or any such plant preparation. Now, these are the phytochemicals of the secondary metabolites that you know. These are classified in different groups. Again, this classification can be flexible, but broadly these carotenoids, phenolics, alkaloids, nitrogen compounds and organosulfur compounds, which are the very common secondary metabolites or phytochemicals produced by the plants. And if you look at that, these are examples of some of the very important such secondary metabolites which are accepted, which are going to be accepted very soon in the mainstream medicine. Many of these are in clinical trials, that is just before the human utilization or human consumption or use, and many of which have already passed the trial, like Taxol, that you know, Taxol is a very potent medicine against a number of cancer patients. Now the actual part of my lecture. That was a kind of introduction, and if you face any difficulty in this part at any point of time, you can ask me that this part is not being processed by me. So here, the new terminology. I think being UG or PG students, you must be knowing about these terminologies. That's very important. Since I talked about this phytochemical genomics, it's a very recent concept. Even I don't know much about this, seriously. And I would like to develop myself in the next few years to know this thing in a different way, and the kind of work that I do in my laboratory. I would like to interact with people, I would like to join different seminars, and very few sectors all over the world are actually working on this aspect. You know, this CRISPR gas is a very happening tool nowadays, right? You know CRISPR gas. Okay, you know DNA transformation, actovector mediated transformation, right? Particle bombardment, gene gun, plant tissue culture, that you know, right? Or electroporation. So the thing is that we develop transgenics by this, right? Transgenic কাকে বলে? যখন একটা ভাইরাস জিনকে আমরা একটা অন্য অর্গানিজমে এক্সপ্রেস করছি, that is non heterologous expression of any gene. Say for example, আমরা যদি প্লান্টে একটা ব্যাকটেরিয়া জিনকে এক্সপ্রেস করি, it's a kind of transgenic that we produce. Actovector mediated transformation is one of the very efficient tool by which we can develop transgenic, because actovector mutations or actovector varieties are the two bacteria that contain the transgene, and those are able to transfer the transgene from the bacteria to the host plant. Okay. Actovector mutations, it causes the gall or tumor. Actovectorium varieties, it is responsible for hair-hue phenotype. And once this phenotype মানে যেটা আমরা চোখে দেখতে পাচ্ছি, once you get that phenotype, then the gene must be integrated in the genome, so you are getting that kind of phenotype. Hair-hue মানে normal root taproot এর মধ্যে কিছু hair পাবে. Okay. So that is due to that RDNA or tDNA, which are transferred from tumefacients causing gall or rhabdoids causing hair-hue phenomenon. Now, nowadays this CRISPR mechanism is very interesting because it is very precise, and you can target a particular segment of the genome so that it can be altered and it can produce a new compound or a compound in higher amount. I mean, ask CRISPR. তার আগে কি বলি, As you know that these plant-based products or botanical drugs or phytomedicines, they have various names and medication derived from plants are used to cure or prevent illness all over the world. It may be directly by the local people, by the village people, or sometimes these drugs or these chemicals are used as template for developing new drugs. যেটা আমি বললাম তো যিনি চাইনিজ লেডি উনি জানতেন যে আগে মিশিয়ে ফেলে ম্যালেরিয়া সেরে যায়, ম্যালেরিয়া জ্বরটাকে প্রিভেন্ট করা যায়। ওকে, আমরা জানতাম ওই কম্পাউন্ডটা রয়েছে যার নাম হচ্ছে আর্টিমিসিলিন, but she produced one compound from that artemisinin that is known as dihydroartemisinin. So the template was from nature, was taken from nature, and she created that dihydroartemisinin by modifying a little bit of the same compound, and that came as a life-saving drug in the huge areas of Southeast Asian countries. Okay. So all these that wealth, that sort of thing that we already have in nature, we need to enhance it or we need to find it out first so that new drugs can be developed. So plant care also share that it's a very kind of generalized statement, but the thing is that you need to discover those phytochemicals, you need to modify them. একটা chemical কে অনেকভাবে modify করা যায়। একটা chemical তার যদি একটা হাইড্রোজেন বন্ড বা একটা OH গ্রুপ বা হাইড্রোক্সিল গ্রুপ বা any গ্রুপ যদি জয়েন করে দেয় দেখা যায় হয়তো সেটার অ্যাক্টিভিটি many times, in 1,000 times বেড়ে যেতে পারে। Okay, the same thing was done by this lady. Now, there is a huge market potential of these drugs that you look at here. Light. Oh, sorry. So here you can see that the market of such drug, especially in the post-COVID scenario, now we have become more health conscious. We are avoiding antibiotics. We are going for nutraceuticals, herbal supplements, food supplements. So considering that, there is a huge potential on the market to reach that 315.5 billion US dollar in the year 2027 from only 100 billion US dollar in 2021. So this is a huge jump considering the immense prospect of herbal medicine. Now, as you know that these phytochemical diversity is a very important aspect because we only know the tip of the iceberg. The whole iceberg is not known to us. যারা ডাক দেখে তারা জানে কি ছিল ডায়লগটা। We know only the drop. তাই তো কি এটা ছিল? The whole ocean is unknown to us. Okay, I'm exactly ভুলে গেছি। Likewise, in phytochemical diversity also, 1899 এর কেমন ভালো লাগে তাই তো? পরে একটা লাইন দেখছি না ভালো হয়েছে। Okay, এটা কেমন ভালো আছে? Now, again this phytochemical diversity, we know very little about it. পৃথিবীতে কত প্লান্ট আছে, কত কম্পাউন্ড আছে, কতগুলো আমরা জানি। But at the same time, this diversity exists. যদি প্লান্টের কোনো রোল নাই থাকতো সেকেন্ডারি মেটাবোলাইটের তাহলে এত ডাইভার্সিটি কেন? আর ডাইভার্সিটি আমরা হিউম্যান নিজেদের ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালি ইউজ করছি, প্লান্ট জানা আছে আমরা ইউজ করছি, বাট স্টিল প্লান্টস আর ইভলভিং ইন সাচ ওয়েজ দ্যাট they are always flexible to produce newer compounds. Now, phytochemical diversity is paradoxically added by relatively minor changes in existing and ubiquitous metabolic pathways. It's not easy to change the metabolic pathway as a whole. There are certain very minor changes, but that minor change is responsible for producing new compound in the plant. Promiscuity of enzymes, including multiple product and substrate enzyme specificity as well as changes in compartmentation patterns may also contribute to plant metabolite diversity. The large phytochemical diversity that we find in nature is the result of different selection pressures that plants have successfully coped with during evolution. You know natural selection? Natural selection also plays a very crucial role in the phytochemical component of the plant. Natural selection is very important because if you want to put a plant in competition, say for example Lantana camara যেটা আমরা জানি যে প্লান্টটা even at 8,000 or 9,000 feet altitude you will find Lantana camara that is growing like anything because they have the capacity, they are well ahead in their natural selection, so So they can eliminate all the competitive plant, and as a plant it's a heat loving plant, but they can easily cope in altitude of around 8,000 to 9,000 feet. Lantana is everywhere in Darjeeling and city Himalaya. Okay. Now, this diversity is a multi-dimensional concept. It's not a single dimensional, it's not a 2D or 3D, it's a multiple dimensional concept, and there are many aspects. All these things are very new, very recent. Here, I would like to discuss this phytochemical diversity from an ecological point of view. Now, these terminologies are very important: richness, evenness, diversity indices, functional diversity, and structural diversity, and also alpha and beta diversity that I'll come later. Here you can see the richness means phytochemical richness is the count of unique compounds present in a plant or group of samples. Richness can be defined as many scales like organ, individual, genotype, species, or community. That means the count of unique compounds present in a plant, the number of unique compounds present in a plant, and these may vary from organ to organ. As I already told you, root, stem, leaves, flower, fruit. They may show different phytochemical composition, and that falls under the richness as one of the dimensions. Individual, even our বাড়িতে 10টা ব্যাপকমূলী গাছ লাগায় ব্রাহ্মী, those dead plants will not show similar amount of bacoside present. So even individual plants might show little bit of difference in their phytochemical content. Third is genotype. Of course, genotype is very important. Genotype means the plants taken from different genetic backgrounds. All Bacobaconiae are not same. You take something from North Bengal, from South Bengal, obviously these are different genotypes, and you find difference in their phytochemical composition. Species or community, obviously, because different Bacopa species will always show different types or different amounts of such chemicals present. So all these things are very important: organ, individual, genotype, species or community, considering the phytochemical diversity in a plant. Second is evenness. Phytochemical evenness describes the distribution of total compound production among all the compounds within a sample. A sample where all compounds have equal concentration is perfect even, whereas a sample composed of one abundant compound and multiple low concentration compounds has low evenness. The second probability is much obvious, because কোনো প্লান্টই এমন হয় না যেখানে সবকটা কম্পাউন্ডই একই লেভেলে থাকে. So the second thing is much obvious, where you can find one compound or two compounds which are abundant and many compounds which are less abundant, and that is defined as evenness of that as one of the dimensions. Diversity indices. Diversity indices combine the richness and evenness components of diversity into a single metric, weighting the contribution of each compound, such that compounds with lower abundances contribute less to the overall estimate of diversity. There are many such indices in the species diversity in literature, but that is not obvious, because কোনো একটা compound কম থাকা মানে তার diversity কম তা কিন্তু নয়. Although in plants it was found that, or from time to time it was found that even plants having fewer number of compounds are more biologically active than the plants having huge number of such compounds. But still, it is considered as one of the important index or important dimension in phytochemical diversity. Okay. Then functional diversity. Functional diversity of a phytochemical mixture describes the range of biological activities exhibited by the compounds present. So you need to know the functional part of this diversity. আমি বললাম এই গাছে এতগুলো কম্পাউন্ড আছে, but you need to know the function of those compounds. That is the biological function. As I told you, that anti-cancer property or antioxidant property or neuroprotective property or cardioprotective property, that is protecting the heart, hepatoprotective property, that is protecting the liver. All these things are to be validated. Science কিন্তু validation ছাড়া কিছু না, nothing. Okay, আমি বলে দিলে কিছু হয় না. So likewise, this functional diversity is very important. You need to attribute function to all these compounds. Bacosides আমরা ব্রাহ্মী খাই, memory বাড়ানোর জন্য, compound থেকে bacoside, right? এই যে বাজারে যে ব্রাহ্মী কিনতে পাওয়া যায় সেখানে composition লেখা থাকে Bacobaconiae, but the compound is bacoside. Bacoside, these are saponins. A number of compounds are present in bacoside. Then structural diversity. It describes the complexity of the molecular structures present in a phytochemical mixture. A mixture, it contains different types of compound, alkaloid, phenolics, diamonds, etc., etc. And they show different types of structure. And herein lies the structural diversity, which is very important because all these compounds, they vary structurally. And one concept is very commonly used nowadays, structure-activity relationship, or SAR. So structure of the compound is very important to find out the biological activity of the compound. If you change the structure a little bit, the activity might be enhanced or the activity might be decreased. That example I have given already in case of this artemisinin or dihydroartemisinin. By adding 1-2 extra molecule, the activity of the compound was enhanced manifold. So the structure activity relationship is very important. That's why we need to know the structural diversity of such phytochemicals. Now, alpha, gamma, beta diversity, they will exist in phytochemistry also, in phytochemical diversity. These are normally done in case of any analyzing any sort of diversity. Now here also, this is a local diversity that we call alpha diversity, that a single sampling unit, maybe a single plant, if you are considering the amount of phytochemicals present. Gamma diversity is a diversity at the scale of statistical population that contains all plant sampling units, that is regional diversity. After most plant area or phytochemical analysis that will be called as gamma diversity. And beta diversity is a kind of much complex endeavor where we need to include alpha and gamma diversity both. And this chemotaxonomy that I was talking about, that includes this beta diversity. Okay. It's a kind of again another one concept, very interesting concept that is given in a very recent paper. I'll give you the reference where this network of such enormous amount of diversity present in phytochemicals, the quantitative diversity and qualitative diversity, which are being put in a nutshell in this flow diagram, where you can find that many of these components are very important in getting that kind of different dimension that I already talked about, the multi-dimensional nature of this diversity. So if you look at here, I'm just touching the broad areas. The phytochemical diversity is written over here. This variation in chemical composition that I already told you, and complexity of the chemical composition, both are important. Variation doesn't mean that it will be complex. So at one hand, variations in chemical composition, that is a number of such chemicals present in plant samples, and here you get the complexity of chemical composition, that how complex those chemicals are in the plants. And then the other index which are considered here, you see the alpha diversity, gamma diversity, and functional diversity that I have already talked about, beta diversity. If someone is working with like phytochemistry, then this paper is a must read for them. Now phytochemical genomics. It's nothing but, as the title is suggesting, it's the use of genomics in elucidating or finding out or characterizing the phytochemicals. এতদিন পর্যন্ত আমরা কি করতাম, phytochemical দেখার জন্য আমরা chromatography করেছি, তাই electrophoresis করেছি, mass spectroscopy or say modern techniques HPLC or HPLC, NMR করেছি. But to know the genetic basis of this phytochemical diversity, you need to study this phytochemical genomics. The chemical diversity of Arabidopsis thaliana is larger than we expected. You know, Arabidopsis thaliana is a model plant, and now they have selected this plant as a model organism or model plant in finding out the chemical diversity. And it was found that by applying phytochemical genomics, huge number of such chemicals were found that was more than that was expected earlier. Integration of transcriptomics and metabolomics is powerful for functional genomics. All DNA are not expressed in terms of transcriptome or metabolome or protein, right? Many DNAs are junk, many DNAs they do not express themselves. And here you can see that This transcriptomics and metabolic analysis, these are very concrete data that you can correlate in functional genomics. Metabolic genetics facilitates crop breeding. If you know the metabolism of any crop plant, then you can facilitate plant breeding depending on the data. And genes for biosynthesis of bioactive products in medicinal plants are identified. So phytochemical genomics also gives some idea on the genes which are involved in biosynthetic pathway. As of like today, there are not many plants whose chemical pathways are known to us. There are many such plants or many such pathways which are present which are not elucidated yet. So phytochemical genomics can be used to find out those pathways producing very important phytochemicals in the end. So this is a book that actually one of my friends edited. We published 2 chapters in the book, published from Springer, Germany. And this is the first book on phytochemical genetics. If you want this book as a full PDF, I can give that to you. And this is a book where many concepts of such knowledge that is existing now is given. And it is said that with the help of this phytochemical genomics, we can estimate millions of metabolites which are not known to us yet. Again, it's only the tip of the iceberg that we know. The whole iceberg is to be discovered, and phytochemical genomics can be used as a very important tool in this regard. Again, here you can see that that genome sequencing, not only in medicinal plant but in crop plants also, there is evolution of that. That Sanger reaction that you know in DNA sequencing. Okay, know that. It's a kind of first generation thing. Inamul knows better than me, of course. And then, if you look at the time scale, it's from 2010 to 2021. Since I work on medicinal plant, I mentioned that medicinal plant, but this is applicable for any plant. And then you can see that this first generation technology in finding out the DNA sequences right from 2010 to 2021. Now that second and third generation technology, they are combined together to find out the genetic basis of these phytochemicals present in the medicinal plants. And also you can find out that different databases are available. And this is for Arabidopsis. If you click those links, you can find out enormous data sets which are present in the internet. So you can find out the amount of phytochemicals present, their variety, their quantity and quality. All you can find out by clicking those links. And although very few work has been done, as I already told you that phytochemical genomics is a very new concept, but few data that you can find out in this link also, where a few research areas or few research data present in the medicinal plants. And you know that whole genome duplication and whole genome replication, these are very common in medicinal plant. That means that is another kind of issue that we face. Even in Texas also we have found many such events of whole genome duplication or whole genome replication. And here you can see that a number of such plants are present in Panax, ginseng or other plants also. There the whole genomes are duplicated or replicated. And it is a million years event. You know, these here you can see that 2 million years or 1.3 million years ago or even 6.6 million years ago, the genome duplication took place in those plants. And not only duplication, replication also. So that means the whole genome is repeated 3 times. তার মানে কি কোন বেশি মেটাবলাইট প্রডিউস করবে তা কি সত্যি that we need to know. The more is not very always. So there are some limitations, there are some restrictions, and this was made by one of my students. It can be made very easily. It's a host viewer software that we use, and you can use any terminology. We use this phytochemical genomics terminology to find out these keywords which are related to that. So you see the ocean of keywords which are related to phytochemical genomics. If you give search as phytochemical genomics, you will find all these keywords are interlinked. So The multi-dimensional aspect of phytochemical genomics can be shown by this diagram alone, where you see at least 200 aspects of peripheral keywords are present, which are directly or indirectly related to phytochemical genomics. Okay, CRISPR is a very new technology. Okay, now CRISPR এর ব্যাপারে কার আইডিয়া রয়েছে? এটা ছোট্ট করে কেউ বলতে পারবে? Anyone? Anything? এটা তো মানে ইউজও কেন হয়? It's not about like in books. Huh? Okay, আমি খুব ছোট করে বলছি না ইউজির জন্য। CRISPR হচ্ছে একটা টেকনোলজি by which you can manipulate a gene very precisely. আমরা যে ব্রিডিং করে এসেছি প্লান্ট ব্রিডিং এর ক্ষেত্রে ব্যাপারটা কি হয়? চান্স ফ্যাক্টর কিছুটা, যে হেটেরোসিস বা হাইব্রিড বিয়া দেখা যাবে কি যাবে না, একটা চান্স ফ্যাক্টর। ইভেন ইন অ্যাগ্রোভেক্টর মিডিয়েটেড ট্রান্সফরমেশন অর জিন গান মেথড অর ইলেক্ট্রোপোরেশন, এটা আমি একটু বলছিলাম, আমরা ডেফিনেটলি বলতে পারি না যে প্লান্টের ট্রান্সফরমেশন হয়েছে আনটিল আর আনলেস উই গো ফর সিলেকশন। ওকে, but in CRISPR I'm not going into the detail of this technology where you can change a very precise location of a genome, so you can facilitate the gene expression in your favor, right? খুব precise একটা procedure and very much result oriented, এবং প্রচুর crop planted, especially crop plants related to biotic and abiotic stresses. CRISPR mechanism has been very fruitful, like in rice, in wheat, in sorghum. There are many plants works are going on nowadays, but in medicinal plant you won't find too much of such reports present. Only very few records are found in the medicinal plants where CRISPR has been applied to manipulate the production of secondary metabolite or phytochemicals. Here you can see that in probably 2021 only 5 or 6 plants are there. Carolina sativa from Brassicaceae, omega-3 fatty acid and PUFA, these compounds were manipulated by using CRISPR. Dendrobium officinal, it's an orchid from orchidaceae. Then Diastoria nigibarensis, from Diastoreaceae is Dargen, it's a steroidal saponin. Nicotiana tabenum, tamak, these alcohols or carbamates, they were produced by taking their genome using CRISPR-Cas, and Papaver somniferum from Papaver. Again, these alcohols were produced by using CRISPR-Cas, and these papers that we have published from our lab, actually what I'm trying to talk about is that CRISPR is not famous in the medicinal plant sector. The work has just started, so enormous potential is there to apply CRISPR in the medicinal plant research. CRISPR has been applied in other sectors. If you look at that, CRISPR was applied in phytoremediation. I think you know the meaning of phytoremediation, right? Or microremediation. CRISPR was applied in rice and wheat. For stress tolerance, CRISPR was applied in nanotechnology. CRISPR was applied again here in abiotic stress tolerance. But in plants, it's a very rare phenomenon. Very limited literature is there that show you the application of CRISPR-Cas in the medicinal plant research or in the sector of secondary metabolite production. Again, Tariq is a good friend of mine from Aligarh Muslim University. He invited me for this chapter, and for the first time in the world, we published these papers in some of very journals, elucidating the prospect or aspect of CRISPR-Cas in natural product research. Now, if we go to the conclusion part, I think you'll be very happy. So, the thing is that although it's a baby right now, there are many roads to travel. The biosynthetic genes in plants dispersely located in the genome, unlike microbial genes which cluster together on the genome. This is one of the biggest problems in plant genome. In microbes, they have very small genome size, and most of the similar genes they are clustered together. So manipulation or elucidation, they are very easy. But in plants, it is not the same. So increasing evidence indicates that the genes of subclassific pathways, not all, form gene clusters in plant genomes. This allows easier identification of genes and also gives more in-depth insight on evolution and function of specialized metabolites. So this is the kind of hope that we're having if we are able to discover such clusters. So at the same time we can discover a number of genes which are responsible for producing such phytochemicals. Moreover, study on self-resistance mechanism of plants producing toxic metabolite provide proof for further understanding of evolution and function of specialized metabolism. অনেক প্লান্ট অনেক টক্সিক কম্পাউন্ড প্রডিউস করে ল্যান্টেনা যে কম্পাউন্ড প্রডিউস করে that is not toxic for us but that is toxic for the other plants growing in the vicinity. So those plants are eliminated and lantana is able to grow. Okay, and there are many other plants also. ছাগল বা গরু প্লান্টকে অ্যাভয়েড করে যেমন কারণ crops. Right? Why? Because those are toxic to the animals also. Now those genes which are responsible for toxicity of certain plants, that is a very interesting domain. The self-resistance mechanism of plants. কিছু plant খায় না, grazing বা herbivore prefer করে due to certain metabolites or volatiles which are produced by the plant. So animals don't like the smell, or animals know that if they consume that plant, that will cause stomach upset or other anomalies. Now, the recently emerged cheap and massive DNA sequencing technology definitely facilitates the completion of genome sequencing for non-model plants, including medicinal plants. So, DNA sequencing and genome sequencing. So, we can use these methods in non-model plants also. Earlier we used this in Arabidopsis thaliana, different crops, but now we can extend that thing to the other medicinal plants also. So that if we know the genome of all these medicinal plants, complete genome sequencing is known to us, then we can manipulate, we can produce new compounds, we can change the pathways, and we can produce more therapeutic chemicals, so that that can be used for human benefit, right? Ultimately, our লক্ষ্যটা কি যে disease morbidity and mortality কে কম করা. So in that way, if we discover or if we find out new novel compounds from the plants, then that can be done. And this is the future. Phytochemical genomics যে কম্পাউন্ডগুলো এখন ইউজ করা হচ্ছে বা ক্লিনিক্যাল ট্রায়ালে রয়েছে 70 to 80% of these compounds are originated from biological organisms, not only from plant but also from fungi, from microbes, other microbes, also bacteria, like that. So that's it. Then thank you for inviting me.
আচ্ছা কারোর প্রশ্ন আছে? অতটা বুঝতে পেরেছি স্যার, আমি নিজেই বুঝতে পারিনি। সিরিয়াসলি মানে আমাদের একটা স্মার্টনেস দেখাতে হয়, ঠিক আছে, যে আমরা সব বুঝি, কিন্তু অনেক ক্ষেত্রে আমরা বুঝি না। প্র্যাকটিক্যালি জানার তো কোনো শেষ নেই, ঠিক আছে। নতুন কনসেপ্ট, এটা আমার কাছে নতুন কনসেপ্ট, আমিও জানার চেষ্টা করছি। তো সবই যে জানতে হবে দ্যাটস নট ইম্পর্টেন্ট, বাট অ্যাট দ্য সেম টাইম আমাদের যে মানে জানার চেষ্টা করতে হবে। এবং এই টার্মিনোলজিগুলো আমি জানি এখান থেকে অনেকে বেরিয়ে হয়তো স্কুলে পড়াবে, ব্যাংকে যাবে, রেলে যাবে, কেউ রিসার্চে আসবে, কিন্তু নতুন কনসেপ্ট যদি জানা যায় কোথাও না কোথাও কিন্তু আমরা কানেক্ট বা কোরিলেট করতেই পারি। দিস কোরিলেশন ইজ ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট। ওকে, আমরা যখন কোথাও একটা আলোচনা করি অনেক ক্ষেত্রে আমরা চুপ করে বসে থাকি, কারণ আমরা জিনিসটা জানি না বা বলতে পারি না কিছু। বাট ইফ ইউ ওয়ান্ট টু কোরিলেট, ইটস আ টোটালিটি অফ দ্য কনসেপ্ট দ্যাট ইউ নো, যে কোনো আলোচনাতে আমরা পার্টিসিপেট করতে পারি যদি আমরা পার্টিকুলার সেক্টরটাতে আমাদের অ্যাডভান্স নলেজ থাকে। সো দ্যাট ইজ ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট। আমি ডার্ককে কোরিলেট করতে পারি এর সাথে, তার কারণ আমি দুটো সেক্টরকে জানি। ইনফ্যাক্ট তোরাও অনেক কিছু জানিস, আমার থেকে অনেক বেটার হতে জানিস, বাট ইউ নিড টু নো দ্য টোটালিটি অফ দ্যাট কনসেপ্ট সো দ্যাট ইউ ক্যান কোরিলেট এনিথিং উইথ এনিথিং, লাইক দ্যাট। আচ্ছা, এই দুটো রেফারেন্স আমি পড়তে বলবো সবাইকে। ইকোলজিক্যাল লেটার্স, ইটস আ ভেরি রিনাউন্ড জার্নাল, and these two papers are very conceptual papers. এখানে কিন্তু টেকনিক্যাল কষ্ট বিশেষ কিছু নেই, বাট পড়তে ভীষণ ভালো লাগে। আমি সাজেস্ট করব পড়া দিও দেব দিদিকে, so that you can get those two papers. না বুঝলে বলি রেখে দ্যাট ইজ পড়িস। ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ। আমি তাড়াতাড়ি শেষ করে দিলাম। এইটা
Sir, please come on the dais and conclude the technical session.
আমি
শুভ সন্ধ্যা। কারণ এতক্ষণ অনেকে যে কন্যা যে মেয়েরা বা ছেলেরা আছো, এত ইংরেজিতে কথা শুনেছো, আমি একটু বাংলাতেই বলি, তাতে অনেক আনন্দ করে, ভালো লাগে। প্রথম যেটা বলি, একটু একটা ছোট্ট ইতিহাস বলি। আমার এটা খুব ভালো লাগে, দ্য আর্থ ইজ রাউন্ড এটা বুঝতে পারি, পৃথিবী গোল। তার কারণটা হচ্ছে আমি কিন্তু প্রেসিডেন্সি কলেজে অ্যালাউড 1980 সালে প্রেসিডেন্সি কলেজ থেকে আমি পাস করি। আগে ডক্টর সাহা উনিও কিন্তু প্রেসিডেন্সি ইউনিভার্সিটির একজন অধ্যাপক। হ্যাঁ, ডক্টর দেব সরি। তো সুতরাং খুব ভালো লাগছে যে আমি যে কলেজে অ্যালাউড ছিলাম সেই কলেজে একজন অধ্যাপক তিনি আজকে একটা সুন্দর বক্তৃতা দিলেন এবং এটা খুব ফ্রুটফুল। এবং হয়তো তোমাদের কাছে একটু দুর্বোধ্য মনে হয়েছে, কিন্তু প্ল্যান্টের সঙ্গে যে কেমিস্ট্রি বা রসায়নের যে একটা সম্পর্ক আছে বা তার মধ্যে যে বিভিন্ন রকমের যে গুরুত্ব আছে প্রত্যেকটা প্ল্যান্টের মধ্যে, সেটা উনি বিভিন্নভাবে সেটা তোমাদের বোঝানোর চেষ্টা করেছেন। হয়তো কিছু কিছু জায়গায় তোমরা নিশ্চয়ই বুঝতে পেরেছ, কারণ উনি দীর্ঘদিন অধ্যাপনাতে থাকার ফলে উনি একটা অন্য লেভেল বা অন্য জগতে গবেষণা করেন, যে জগতে হয়তো তোমরা ভবিষ্যতে পৌঁছবে আশা করি। এবং তখন মনে হবে যে এগুলো আমাদের কাছে কিছুই নয়, এখন যেটা আমাদের কাছে খুব শক্ত মনে হয়। এবং তোমরা জানবে যে খুব ছোট্টবেলা এখনো বলে যে ধরো তুলসীর পাতা খাও, বুদ্ধি কমে যাচ্ছে, ব্রাহ্মী শাক খা, এসব নানা রকম চিরতার খা, এই যে জিনিসগুলো যেগুলো পুরনো আমাদের দেশীয় গাছ গাছারা আছে, এর মধ্যে নিশ্চয়ই কিছু অ্যাক্টিভ ইনগ্রেডিয়েন্টস ছিল বা আছে, যেগুলোকে আমাদের পুরো আগেকার যারা লোকজন তারা এটা ব্যবহার করতে, এবং প্রাচীনপন্থী যারা আছে, আজকে ধরো আমাদের মেডিকেল সায়েন্স অনেক ডেভেলপ হয়েছে, বেসিক্যালি অ্যালোপ্যাথ মানে কেমিক্যাল বেস সায়েন্স হয়ে গেছে। কিন্তু পুরনো আমরা যদি অনেক পেছনে ফিরে যাই, আগেকার দিনে লোকেরা কিন্তু এত মেডিসিন খেত না, তারা সব গুঁড়ো টুড়ো করে নানা রকম জিনিস মিশিয়ে একটা জিনিস খেয়ে নিত। ফলে যত সভ্যতা এগিয়েছে, চিন্তাধারা এগিয়েছে, তার সঙ্গে সঙ্গে আমরা একটু প্রকৃতি থেকে একটু আলাদা হয়ে গেছি, যেটা কিন্তু একটা হিউম্যান এক্সিস্টেন্সের পক্ষে কিন্তু মারাত্মক। যত আমরা পৃথিবী প্রকৃতি থেকে দূরে সরে যাব, তত কিন্তু আমাদের অস্তিত্বটা কিন্তু খুব বিপন্ন হবে। আমাদের রয়্যাল সোসাইটি অফ কেমিস্ট্রি যে প্রজেক্টটা দিয়েছে, তারা চাইছেন বা তারা চেয়েছেন যে যে মেডিসিনাল প্ল্যান্টস যেটা গ্রামের গরিব লোকেরা যারা ইউজ করে, তারা ম্যাক্সিমাম খুব কস্টলি মেডিসিন ইউজ করে। আমাদের কনসেপ্ট ছিল বা যারা এখানে বক্তৃতা দিয়েছেন বা স্পিকার যারা ছিলেন, তারা এটা বলতে চেয়েছেন যে তোমরা একটু কম করে কেমিক্যালটাকে ইউজ করে দেশীয় গাছগাছালিগুলোকে ব্যবহার করো। হ্যাঁ, ম্যাডাম বললেন যে প্যারাসিটামল খেলে কি হয়। আমি একটা অভিজ্ঞতা বলি, ছোট্ট অভিজ্ঞতা। আমি তখন আমেরিকায় থাকি, পিএইচডি করছি, যখন ওষুধের দোকানে গেছি, তা গিয়ে আমি বললাম দেখুন আমার একটা আমেরিকাতে কিন্তু একটা জিনিস যারা গেছে হয়তো জানেন, ওই গেলে একটা বই দিয়ে দেয় না, এটা কিন্তু নেই। ওরা গেলেই জিজ্ঞেস করে কম্পোজিশনটা বলো। তো আমি তো একটা জিনিস দিলাম, আমাদের হোটেলে যে ওয়ার্ডের জন্য লিখে দিচ্ছিল, সে সুন্দর করে একটা জিনিস বানিয়ে দিল। একটা জিনিস আপনি জেনে রাখবেন, আমরা যে এখানে যে ওষুধগুলো খাই, কেমিক্যালস গুলো, একটা অ্যাক্টিভ থাকে আর নটা কিন্তু ইনঅ্যাক্টিভ মেটেরিয়ালস থাকে। ওই একটা অ্যাক্টিভিটির জন্য নটা ইনঅ্যাক্টিভ মেটেরিয়ালস আমার বডিকে ড্যামেজ করে। কিন্তু নেচারে যেগুলো প্রডিউস হয়, প্ল্যান্ট যেগুলো করছে, অন্যান্য অ্যানিমাল যেগুলো করছে, নেচার থেকে তৈরি হচ্ছে, ওরা কিন্তু আমাদের বায়োলজিক্যাল সিস্টেমের সঙ্গে টোটালি ওরা অ্যাডজাস্ট করে থাকে। মানে যত আপনি ন্যাচারাল মেডিসিনগুলোকে ইউজ করবে, যত প্রকৃতি থেকে জিনিসগুলো তোমরা খাবে, তত কিন্তু তোমাদের পক্ষে খুব উপকারী হবে। আদার প্রচুর সর্দি কাশি এই জন্য আদার রস খাও, তুলসী পাতার রস কিন্তু খুব এফেক্টিভ। এবার তুমি দোকানে গিয়ে একটা কাপ সিরাপ কেনো, যেটা যতটা তোমার পক্ষে হার্মফুল, কিন্তু আদা তুলসী রস খেলে পারি কোয়ান্টিটি অ্যামাউন্ট, সেটা কিন্তু তোমার পক্ষে অতটা হার্মফুল হবে না যতটা তোমার একটা ড্রাগস তোমার কাছে হার্মফুল হবে। তোমার খুব ভালো লাগলো যে তোমরা সবাই ইন্টারেস্ট নিয়ে শুনলে, এত দীর্ঘক্ষণ আমার এটাও ভালো লাগলো। আমি অনেক জায়গায় দীর্ঘদিন আমি আমার অভিজ্ঞতা আছে যে প্রিন্সিপাল হিসেবে ছেলেমেয়েরা পেছন থেকে পালিয়ে যায়, প্রথমে মাথা নিচু করে থাকে, আমরা আস্তে আস্তে নিচু হয়ে পালিয়ে যাই। একটা সময় লাস্ট পর্যায়ে গিয়ে দেখা যায় পেছনের বেঞ্চগুলো সব ফাঁকা, সামনের দিকে সব ভর্তি হয়ে গেছে। এবং কারা ভর্তি হয়ে আছে, যারা হয়তো প্যাকেট পায়নি তারা ওয়েট করছে, অথবা যারা সার্টিফিকেটের জন্য পাইনি এখনো সেইগুলো বসে আছে, বাকিগুলো সব পাঠিয়ে গেছে। কিন্তু আমার খুব ভালো লাগে এত সুন্দর একটা কলেজ, যেখানে আজকে প্রত্যেকটা হলে প্রত্যেকটা চেয়ার ভর্তি হয়েছে। থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ, ভেরি মাচ।
শেষ পর্যায়ে এসে পৌঁছেছি। তো আমাদের ভ্যালিডেটরি সেশনে এখানে সবাইকে গ্রিট করার কথা ছিল। আমাদের ইন্ডিয়ান কেমিক্যাল সোসাইটি ফর্মার সেক্রেটারি প্রফেসর ডক্টর চিত্তরঞ্জন সিনহা, কিন্তু উনি যাদবপুরে কনভোকেশনে ব্যস্ত আছেন। তো আমাদের এখন সার্টিফিকেট দেওয়ার ব্যাপার আছে। তো আমি রিকোয়েস্ট করছি প্রফেসর দত্ত, প্রফেসর শিকদার এবং Professor Degi to come up on the stage and to deliver the certificates. আমাদের স্টুডেন্টদের সার্টিফিকেট আমরা নিজেরা দিয়ে দেব, টিচাররা দিয়ে দেব, কিন্তু বাইরে থেকে যারা এসছে তাদেরগুলো আমরা এই ডায়াস থেকে আজকে এখনই দিয়ে দিচ্ছি। সো অনারেবল প্রফেসর দত্ত, প্রফেসর শিকদার and Dr. Dev, please come up on the stage to deliver the certificates. Mr. Rupak Shah, I don't know whether it is Dr. or Mr. Please come to the stage. And Professor Dr. will deliver you the certificate. And please give us a big hand. The Herbal Hawk, please come to the stage, and Professor Doctor will give you the certificate. Mr. Shubhot Ali, please come up to the stage. Now I request Professor Shikdar to please deliver the next certificate. Ayona Chakraborty, please come up to the stage. Next I request Dr. Amrita Banerjee to come up to the stage. She is from Hiralal Memorial College, Bhubaneswar, and teacher of chemistry. Very good teacher. Mr. Shomojit Chakraborty. I now request Professor Dev to deliver the certificate to Shiva Mukherjee. Please come up to the stage. All our students last but not the least, this is the time for give our thanks to all those who have contributed for our success of this seminar. I now request our own Professor Dipandita Bhattacharya of the Department of Botany to request a vote of thanks.
Very good afternoon to all my respected colleagues, dear teachers, and dear students and distinguished guests. It's a pleasure and privilege for me to end the session with a vote of thanks. Today we had a good session which enriched ourselves. First, I would like to thank the Royal Society of Chemists London for sponsoring this one-day state-level seminar. Though Umila is not present, still I express my heartfelt gratitude to the respected Principal Madam Dr. Umila Okil for encouraging us to organize the seminar. A wide round of applause and sincere thanks to the honorable delegates. First to Dr. Shomika Didok, Dean of Science, Bhavanipur Educational Society College, Professor Dulal Chandra Mukherjee, Advisor, Indian Chemical Society, and sir to you, Professor Anup Kumar Shikdar, for supporting us. I am also very much thankful to the invited eminent speakers, Professor Alokesh Bishoi and Dr. Obhijit De, for enriching us with their lectures. At the end, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the staff members of my college for their cooperation in every step for making this seminar a success. Thank you everyone for taking the time to be here today and listening to me speak. I am really grateful for this opportunity. Thank you all.